And yeah, we're ready to go. So I will just allow the guests to introduce themselves first, but let me go. My name is Simon Johnson. I'm the founder of Stocks on the Rocks. I mean, boy, we've really transitioned I said this every month. So for those that come every month, I said this every month, we've really transitioned really quickly over the years, moving from, 4 to 5 people at Palisados. Now it's Stocks on the Summit. But hopefully, hopefully we're going back to Palisados because I like the Palisados feel. I like the outside and the breeze. All right, you can stop clap now. Yeah, yeah. We all like Palisados, right? So we're trying to sort that out. Welcome to everybody. I see a few CEOs in here. I won't call any names. I see people from the groups. I see people from brokers. I see some of the pitch deck contestants. So I'm really, really, really happy to be here another month. We have another amazing company this week. And most importantly, these guys really built this company from scratch to where it is now. And First Rock Private Equity have joined them on the next leg of growth for the company. So we're going to ask all the questions that you want us to ask, the obvious questions, and get some information out of them. All right. So I'll allow them to introduce themselves.
So, guys, well, I see a couple of people that I know. So, my name is Jason Matthew Oliver Clark. I'm the CEO for Optimum Trading. I've been a part of Optimum for 11 years and counting. That's the quick summary, quick answer.
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's good to be here. I'm Sheldon Poe, the founder and director of Optimum Trading Limited. And this company was formed when I was like my first year of UE. So I see there are some young people in the audience. So that's good that you're here.
Yeah, evening, everyone. Simon, Stocks on the Summit. Thanks for having me again. Very excited to be here. My name is Chris Young. I'm the co-founder and managing director for First Rock Private Equity.
All right, excellent. I see Chris come with the Superman vibes, glasses and things. Guys, last month, and I've been thinking about it since then. Chris said that he finds jogging 10Ks and things like that fun. So we're going to find out, what Sheldon and Jason do for fun outside of, Optimum Trading as well. So let me kick off by starting with Sheldon actually. Sheldon, say you started this company in the first year of UE. So let's start firstly. What does Optimum Trading do?
So we are a dental, medical, and a pharmaceutical supply company. We're more dental. We actually sell to all dental clinics, practices across Jamaica. We have probably between 400 to 500 customers every month that we would serve. Our products are very specialized. So we have products that we're the only ones in Jamaica that actually carries it. So that gives us a market that is guaranteed a certain amount of sale every month.
Excellent. What gave you the idea to start? I mean, first year of UE, it's social sciences. Which faculty?
I was in IT and mathematics.
Oh,
All the nerd stuff.
So what year are we talking about there?
So first year of UE, we're thinking about passing our mid semesters. We're thinking about the exams. We're thinking about integration. We're thinking about the girls, the halls, etc. How did it look? Let's start a dental equipment business even come up.
I was certainly thinking about all those stuff that you were, but how am I gonna finance it? I come from a large family, but I would consider myself that privileged, but I didn't have to worry about, what to eat and everything. And my parents paid for me to go to university and all of that. But there was a lot of us in the household, right? And I said, boy, I need to learn to fend for myself from early. So I used to try, entrepreneurship bug was always, I used to put on parties. And it's not like I was a DJ, so I never had like anything over anybody else putting on parties. I used to pay for the DJ, buy liquor, pay for the venue. So you put on parties and you lose money. I said, boy, that wasn't working. I used to have all stars at Sumfest, all of that. Again, I don't know how to cook, so it was losing money. I have family in New York, and there was something that I got on to because my brother lived in New York. He put me on to somebody that was in a wholesale store. He said to me, Shell, every time you come up here, walk up and why you don't come with things from Jamaica? I said that, but tell me what you want. He said, boy, if you take white rum to New York, I'll buy it from you like I think it was like $20 a case or four. And at that time you could get white rum for like maybe $4 it was $4 a bottle or something like that. So there was a good margin on it, and you could carry up to 12 cases, and you don't have to pay duty. And no, at that time, this was the early 1990s. So I realized in my UE days, I could be taking a trip to New York, and I could walk in back with about $400 in profit after everything. And I'm going to New York quite often. Now I'm going to New York, and I'm now coming back to Jamaica empty-handed. This don't make any sense. Now I tried doing like clothes, like Higgler them time, trying clothes and everything, selling it to your brethren, them who don't want to pay no money. And after I make my like $400 and I'm running a credit line, that don't make no sense. I said, no, that's not working out. Again, where I have a little advantage, my stepfather, DK Duncan, God rest his soul, COVID took him away, right? But he was a dentist. My mother used to faithfully do the books for him. And my mother being kind of son that I am, she going to lend me her car. So I'm helping her do the books at night. So on a Friday, I said, Mommy, I have a date, I can borrow your car, fine. So I'm always doing her books. And the truth is, I saw how much money that my stepfather was selling on dental supplies. The other side of the equation now, my uncle in New York is a dentist. And I said, look, next time I'm going to New York, I'm going to check my uncle and say, Uncle Lance, who supply your dental supplies? He put me on to the main supplier. I know how to talk and sell myself. I taught that supplier. There's a Joyce program at UE I went to from first year. They're very good. I went up every year on that. So in me carrying up the liquor.
Is that like work and travel?
Work and travel.
Oh,
yeah, man, very good.
Me too.
The first time I go up there, I worked 2,000 US. Right, which I see because I'm living with my aunt. Start when young, because my aunt, I'm up there, so Sheldon, any money you work, carry it back to Jamaica. I'm not, I used to go to work and don't eat because I went eat at my aunt, so I'm just saving everything I work, right? I meet the supplier up there, I talk to him, tell him I want to start a business. People who have money love young people. Him say, if you give me $2,000, I give you $2,000 credit. So I came back to Jamaica with $4,000 worth of dental goods. My stepfather came on, I come back and I know all his prices. So I come back and say, look, I'm going to beat all the prices, of course. And because I'm buying exactly, he told me the list of things he wanted. He took what he wanted and he told me all of his friends I should go to. And I went to them, everything sell off. So I'm at you and I'm kidding not. I'm flying to New York like every month, going up with white rum, coming back with dental supplies, right? And I'm feeling hot. You're talking about girls? I'm telling you, I'm the hottest guy. I'm jumping on a plane every month and traveling. I'm being harassed though because every time I'm going up there, they're searching hello to me because I feel I must be in drugs. Every time
them see I come through,
yeah, every time. And I'm like, this is not making any sense either. I kind of feeling that I shouldn't be doing all of this. So I'm like, okay, I need to register a business because I'm actually making. But I went doing this right through UE. When I left UE, I said, I'm not going to work for anybody. I left UE and started to work myself right away. Because when I leave UE, at that time, how this thing was, I thought it was a starlet, right? Pimped out with a nice rims, nice sound system.
That was going to be my next question, So you're making all this money from your business in US dollars too.
That's right.
So how you did it? As a young entrepreneur now.
Yeah, man, when John said, I had a steady girlfriend at that time and we could travel, could go to nice hotel. Sandals was still the bomb back in them time there. I could carry my girlfriend to Sandals. Yeah. You understand? And so I'm doing all of this, and then I'm realizing after a while I say I can't deal with the harassment anymore. I have to register business. I register my business, but my passion is IT, and I'm a nerd. So I want to go away and do my master in industrial and system engineering. My brethren from I don't remember where I was working. I said, yo, come and work for me, man. I went leave with my car, and I'll give you a steady market, and you get to travel wholly. Where you going there? I said, we're going to do my master. My brethren, I set him up. So I give him company car, call him CEO, give him card, him start enjoying himself. I'm doing my masters and I'm still making money. Right? Come back now from masters. What happened now? I love tech, so I'm gone straight into tech. I went to JMB. I was at JMB for 21 years running their IT. Right? But what happened along the way? I find people like a Jason now, like 11 years now. He's running the company. This company has been, it literally has been there's 1 year I wasn't proper. I learned about that. There's 1 year. There's somebody that I hired that stole inventory from me and bun me out. I think about it. I think I lost $400,000.
Jamaican dollars, right?
Jamaican dollars, okay. Man. And I say, look, I need an auditor inside here. So I hired an auditor and I said, your job is report to me every day that everybody's doing what they need to do. That's all you need to do. And still today I have that auditor inside the business. Very, very happy about that. And Jason has been doing a wonderful job in growing the business.
Excellent. So how Jason, how did you come into this fold now?
It started at a dinner party. So his brother invited me to a dinner party for which I attended. And I guess, we had a good vibe. Then there was a second dinner party for which I also was asked to attend. And he said to me, my brother has this company, that really could use some help. So can we connect? So I said, sure. And of course, I would say that's where the magic happened, because that first meeting, we aligned around a number of things. We said, these are the things that we wanted to do. And then it just continued to grow from there. And I grew consistently year over year. And not just as a business, but as a person. Because, I would almost want to say, like a daddy figure, so to speak. And we went to, where were we going? San Francisco? So I think we're going to San Francisco for a conference. And we were buying some keychains and stuff. And they're like, oh, so, you and your dad traveling together and thing. And I mean, we just kind of laugh it off. But it has been that kind of nurturing experience as well, because he has provided a great degree of insight into just how to build a business, how to deal with some of the challenges associated with certain things, how to address and respond to some, and I would say respond, not react, respond to a whole host of issues, including navigating COVID. And that was hard too. And, I would tell you, my birthday was recently. And, one of the things I said to him is that I have spoken to Sheldon for 11 years, almost for 1 hour, almost every day for 11 years. Big man thing.
So did you get the frequent flying?
I do travel a lot, yes.
Thanks, guys. So sorry, guys, we're working with one less mic tonight, unfortunately. But so Jason, can you describe your target market and the customer base for Optimum?
So
I know Sheldon said dentists, but I assume that you've spread beyond dentists in terms of scope, in terms of the equipment that you provide. What does that market look like?
So we're a full service dental supply company. We have our tentacles in the medical space, in the pharmaceutical space. Where we have done really well is by selling to dentists. We sell to government, we sell to the dental schools, we sell to students, we sell to labs, lab techs, the full range that encompasses dentistry. And then we also sell into the medical space as well. So pharmacies, medical centers, hospitals, etc.
Thanks. Let me bring in Chris. So firstly, Chris, congratulations on another acquisition, another successful acquisition. When you are looking to acquire a company, and we can contextualize this with Optimum Trading now, what are some of the non-financial things that you look at?
Yeah, well, one of the non-financial things we looked at, for this particular acquisition is, and I think I mentioned it the last time I was here, is, integrity of the management team. So I've been what can I say, stock in Sheldon for a little while. I would say probably like 3 years. Just I'm interested about the business and the management team and the integrity and just the proven performance. So that's one of the things that was very important to us: the management team, the track record, and the integrity.
Okay. So why is that important though? And well, let me allow you to go there. Why is it important to know that this Optimum team and any acquisition that you do have a certain level of integrity and credibility behind them?
All right. So in private equity, at the end of the day, we have to trust, the entrepreneurs and the leadership team for a portfolio company. In most situations, we don't, remove management. We don't, we don't know a lot about medical or dental as they would know. So we're really buying into their vision and they're to buy into our vision. So that's important. It's a relationship of trust that we're building. So I think that's the real reason why we have to have that performance, integrity, and trust there.
What is your general? I know you might not want to be specific, but what's your general vision for the partnership between First Rock Private Equity and Optimum going forward?
Yeah, so the vision, and this is one of the strategies for First Rock Private Equity. What we do when we buy into companies is just to scale. We want to invest into companies that are growing and to boost them and leverage our relationships across the First Rock group to just bolster growth. And ultimately, if we can, when we will, we list on the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Okay, now that you mentioned the Jamaica Stock Exchange and listing on the exchange, what is your target time period to do that? I don't know if Chris wants to take that already.
Yeah, the target time period is 12 to 14 months. So, if all goes well in the first quarter of next year, we would be starting that process and weighing our options if we can list. I know right now it's a difficult time for the stock exchange, and things work out the way, things are working out just as exactly as I planned. So we have a runway of 12 to 14 months to put certain metrics in place, put certain procedures in place. And ultimately, when Jason has a record year, we'll be coming and sitting here and it'll be a different story.
Jason, you ready?
Just a FYI, I have a record year every year for 11 years.
All right. So you say it's consistent performance, right?
Consistent.
Yes. So Jason, I mean, having seen listed company CEOs, I'm seeing at least one in the crowd now, and probably having discussions with them. What are some of the things that you see that may differ between being a listed company CEO versus a CEO for a private company, if there is any?
No, so for starters, we started by how we wanted to do our own internal reports. And my end of month report, for example, is a 19-page document that looks at everything, right? And so that there is very systematic, rather, I should say, systematic overview of where is the business actually gaining, losing, what is the performance of our team, what is the performance financially in terms of our cash flow, so that we're already paying attention to some of the same things that a public company is already doing. And we've been doing that for years. I think, and it is still something that we continue to improve upon, because in each iteration, we look at what are new things that we can add that now creates new value. And the purpose behind that itself is just around, okay, so it's about decision making. Is the business healthy? That's one question that you always ask. Reports help you to do that. But more importantly, are you now making the right decisions? So when you're looking at reports that are now showing you products that you have good margins on, but not doing enough of, or products that have low margins, make immediate decisions. And that has been something that we have always done, and that has helped to guide some of our decision making. Now, as a public entity, those are some of the things that are always asked. So you wait until you get to an AGM before somebody says, so why aren't you doing this? Or why aren't you doing that?
Mm.
And we already have the data as a private company to say, if you ask me, I can respond to you on a per product basis for the 4,000 plus products that we carry.
So you intimately know your business. I saw Sheldon looking over like a proud owner a while ago, like I made the right decision. You know, this actually feeds well into my next question though, about market trends and you know, looking at changes in consumer behavior. And you tell me, with dental products or medical equipment specifically, is there an almost consistent change in the type of equipment that is used, and how do you you know, kind of react to that? So how do you say, okay, don't send us this amount of orders for this anymore, the dentist stop using this, they want to use this brand and this equipment now?
So one of the things that we do, and it is true of any profession, is continued education. So it's not just what I think is best, it is also what the global standards think are best. And there are a number of trade shows, etc., that myself or others from the team would go and visit, right? That kind of give us an idea as to exactly where are things going, so we know how best to respond to whatever changes the market is now saying needs to be responded to. And then at the same time, because we try to work as closely with the Ministry of Health in terms of things that relate to pharmaceutical permits, regulations, standards, etc., we are always at the forefront of what it is that is now the next step in terms of what we're trying to do.
Just for, you know, the entrepreneurs out here, one of the things that we have as foundation, and just that helps us with that point that you're making, is that our relationship, our vendors are actually very strong. It goes back decades. So these are the top vendors, probably number one, number two, number three vendors in dentistry. We actually carry their lines, right? So in terms of education, they would be, for example, telling us they'll be discontinuing a product and why. But here's a replacement product, and why is it better, right? They'll be sending us free material because they also are very interested in our business growing. So if you have great partners, they do the research for you. So they're telling Jason, you need to start introducing our customers to this, right? You need to show them this new technique. As a matter of fact, they would actually sometimes, you know, there's always they would come here, and you know, we would sponsor things for the dentists to come and get their continuous PE points, right? By attending workshop seminars that we would actually put on.
Okay, so from, I guess, from an international perspective now, as it pertains to the suppliers of the products that you have, are your relationships with them exclusive for Jamaica, or how does competition look for you? You don't have to call them names. But, you know, we
Okay,
don't really-
no. So there are a number of exclusive contracts that we have. There for Jamaica. There are some that have extended outside of Jamaica, which is why, you know, even our discussions with First Rock became even a little bit more lucrative, because, you know, we're able to look at other opportunities because of the expanded range of where those service agreements or those agreements would actually allow us to go. But in terms of exclusivity, I won't give you a number. But what I would say is that, particularly on our dental side, there is a significant number of companies that are globally recognized as being either the largest in their respective fields, for which we have an agreement with.
Yeah.
Again, for the entrepreneurs out there, getting exclusivity is actually not that hard. I remember, again, my first, second year of UA going to a dental conference and being able to, because when you go to a conference, you're going to end up sometimes meeting the CEO of companies, especially if it's a large conference. And if you're enough, like how I used to be, I'm gonna find out who the CEO is. And when you tell them from Jamaica, they must love Jamaica. And sometimes some of the exclusives that we have gotten, we just ask for it and we get it, right? Jason knows if we're trying to get exclusive, we're going and we'll meet the owners and suppliers. So Jason has to get in trouble. And, I mean, he gets to travel. I mean, I think one time he went to China to meet with a supplier that we wanted. So we're bringing all the gifts from Jamaica up to them. You end up, showing. Yes, we're doing video calls and all that, but there's nothing different from that personal touch, going out to dinner and all that.
Bring them some rum and
that's right. So we have. I mean, just like Chris, before me and Chris used to eat, meet at AC and we talk. We're building a relationship, right? So we build solid relationships with the people, and they're gonna tell us. Sometimes we will tell them that, look, the Jamaican dollar under pressure, you can't raise price for us right now. And they're gonna be like, why, Jason, blah, blah, blah. But they understand. So again, you go into the business, I don't care what business it is. If you have a supply side of it, you build those relationships.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, and just to add to from the PE side, that was one of the first questions we had for Jason and Sheldon is, yes, you're supplying all these items, and yes, you have all these different products and customers, but do you have exclusivity? What's stopping a competitor from coming in and stealing customer base or market share? So from an investor standpoint, if you have a good relationship, yes, handshakes and word of mouth is good, but get it in black and white. Get that contract signed as for long as you can. That's important from a investor standpoint, from the PE standpoint, and even when we have our prospectus, you will see all of those exclusive contracts with the big brands that Jason mentioned, and that would give us credibility that our revenue is sticky. So you can rest assured that if any of those products are sold, all that revenue is coming into Optimum.
Yeah, we call that a off-taker as well, right? So whatever products you have, if you have a contract that says once you produce that product, or once you have this product, once you have this service, then we will provide that or buy it from you, then you have that sign that is gold. I want to ask, so you said that some of that exclusivity, I never miss it, expands beyond Jamaica. Now, firstly, does Optimum only operate and or sell in Jamaica now? Sell products?
At present, yes.
What are the plans?
We only operate in Jamaica, but there are aggressive plans to expand within the region, and those plans are well underway. And I would say that within the next
12 to 14 months.
within the next year, there should be certain announcements that would be made regarding some of the expansion plans that we have.
Okay, thank you. Chris, so First Rock PE has portfolio companies in that operate in various countries across the Caribbean. Now, how do you see this Optimum Trading kind of fitting into your overall portfolio company model? Or generally, how do they support each other?
Yeah, so one thing that's important across when you have multiple companies in a group is just the synergy between them. So as soon as we acquired the share ownership in Optimum, I had a call immediately from the salesperson at Dollar. What can we do? How can we sell? What kind of synergy can be between us? And then I got a call from Jason a couple of days later to say, we have some products. Some of our customers, they need financing to help. So immediately there was that synergy right away between Dollar and Optimum. I kind of just bridged the gap, shared the numbers, and the rest was history. So Dollar and Optimum are already doing business. So there's a lot more synergies to be had as well. We have a portfolio company in the Bahamas. We haven't started synergizing that relationship. And I'll let the cat out the bag. We are looking at Guyana. Obviously, with Dollar, Guyana is there already. So there's no secret. Optimum will leverage that relationship, and we will look to enter Guyana.
Well, that's a natural synergy, particularly for the dentists. They say dentists are wealthy, but I suspect some of them don't want to use their cash outright to buy particularly the more expensive equipment. So having a financing partner on hand to say, so same time you're a salesperson selling, they can say, hey, you don't have to worry about financing. Here's a brochure for one of our sister companies, and you can do that through them. How do your margins look? So the margins that you spoke about, Sheldon, when you started in first year are incredible. You say you bought the rum, you bought things for $4. You went over, you sold them at a premium there, but that's the rum. And when you were coming back, you were able to get significant margins there. Is this and probably we can just use gross margin here if we don't want to go as far as the net margin. How do your margins look for the business?
You want me to
Hey,
answer?
Jason, ready, you know. Have the data.
You know, some of our exclusive we're talking about is from manufacturers, and you get the best margins when you're dealing with directly with a manufacturer. As a distributor, we're going to as much manufacturers as possible. Manufacturers will actually negotiate a price with you, right? They understand that you're going to be stocking their items for an extended period of time. They also protect you as well, because if you have new items that are expiring, they're willing to exchange it. So there's a lot of protection that you get. Now, you can probably you can Google anything out there, so I won't speak about exact margin. But if you're dealing with manufacturers, you know, if you, for example, if you go down to Italy, you're buying a BMW, you know, they're buying it from the person who's manufacturing the BMW, right? And you have to have margins that will pay decent salary that for everybody, right? I mean, Kirk, you know about that. And of course, pay for all of the overheads, right? And in many cases, you know, you're talking a minimum, I'll give you an idea of maybe about 80% upwards. And it could be even more than that, because timing is also important. Sometimes if you're selling items that are in demand and you're buying from a manufacturer and it's scarce, you can get better margins as well. But it is a business that generally gives you very healthy margins because we're dealing directly with manufacturers.
Jason, if you had to estimate what percent of the dental equipment market would you say that you control locally? No, you say you have between 400 to 500 clients.
On the advice of counsel, I don't think I should respond.
It's a significant amount. It's a significant amount. So all right,
We are one of the larger companies in the market space, and we actively play a contributing role to both public and private sector. That's what I will leave it at.
Okay. And just to jump to Chris. So as I said, Chris, I said already many times, congratulations. And one time Chris came up to my boss, you know, and said, Simon, I need to teach you guys how to 10x a company. You know, when you are, I assume that when you came to Sheldon and Jason first, it wasn't oh, okay, we're just gonna go with it right away. How did your pitch sound? How did the pitch to Sheldon say pitch? I say, look, first rock, this is what we do. We've 10x the company before. Don't worry about that. This is how we can grow you from here to here.
You know, I want to answer that for Chris. He called me and said, I said, Shelly, you see what we did with Dollar? It's the same thing I can do with you. I said, right, when can we meet?
Oh, okay. So it's a past performance can be an indicator there. Huh?
Yeah, and I mean that goes in outside of financial business. That's just in life in general. Past performance, doesn't necessarily predict future results, but it does help you. So it was easier once you have a track record. So Optimum was our third portfolio company. So it was an easier discussion versus Optimum being the first for sure.
Okay, thank you. Just to jump back to Sheldon, as an entrepreneur yourself, and as you said, you started in university. We have quite a few entrepreneurs here because we do have the first part of the pitch deck finals happening tonight. After decades of entrepreneurship, what's a few key pieces of advice that you would give to them?
The first advice, and you're right all the time, but I will tell you why. Then the customer comes first. A lot of customers we've been serving, we're serving them from day one, and after diagnose, and then we have got to wait on their estate to come on to pay us. That's what custom for life, right?
Wow.
Right. My son is in the audience. He's also an entrepreneur, intelligent. He has the right thing. He started a business when your father still supports you. So I started a business when my mother was still supporting me. So you can lose everything. And you don't have the children either. That's even better. So anything you lose is all on you. So that is key. We sell to the prisons as well. We have some exciting customers, you know. Every month we have products that we sell to prisons. We have products that we sell to the police as well. People tend to be lazy. And if you're treating people right, who they're gonna call? The same people over and over again, over and over. I'm a boring person like that, you know. I sometimes don't want any new relationships unless the one that I have, screw it up, right? So for us, we just always try to do right for the customer. Customer come and don't like something, boy, Jason, just take it back. God damn, just take it back. Give them back their money. We're gonna make it back for them because we have them for the next 10 years, 20 years, until they die, literally. So that's the number one. Whatever business you're in, you go back to the customer and say, how can I treat them better? I have another business now, Innovate 10X. Same customers I had from day one, I still have today. I don't even want to take on more customers sometimes because I don't want to start mess up the existing relationships. Another thing, you manage your growth as well. Working with this is another thing. This deal with First, there's some really see Chris look like Superman, you know.
I said it. The glasses,
so
you know, Clark Kent.
First comes with like a dream team, right? The guy Ian Kelly, Derrimont Trading. I mean, that's a company that's maybe about less than 10 years old. They're doing over $1 billion of revenue in a month.
100 million US a year.
100 million US a year.
Already.
Just to be exact.
Right. Ian Kelly is the chairman of my board. He has built a company that does over 100 million US a year. We have somebody like that willing to take the time with you. We understand that you're the new kid on the block, that they're going to nurture you. They're going to make sure you do the right thing. So another thing in the young entrepreneur, look for the right partners to work with. I really believe, and that's why I'm here, we have a great partnership, right? Chris really believes in the company in terms of how we look at business. They're very similar. We respect each other right across the board. We're going to learn from each other, and we are growing the business. And again, the number one advice I'm giving, we're keeping the customer out front as being number one.
So Jason, I want to dial back to COVID. How did that affect the business, and what were some of the things that you would have put in place, you know, along with your team dynamically to kind of weather that storm?
So the first thing is we made a decision that we did not want to terminate any staff during COVID. And
Let me say why that would have happened, you know? Because when the country locked down, all our customers were also basically closed. So they were also going through something where they just have to just lock up shop, and a lot of the business that we just normally do was just overnight gone, dead, gone.
If I may add to, that's one of the things we really like about this business, you know, from a high level, is that in COVID, you know, when you look at Optimum's numbers, and I'm a numbers guy, right? it was a very resilient. You wouldn't even know, like, you know, without knowing COVID happened, you would look at their numbers and, you know, it was very resilient. So the healthcare, medical, dental space, you know, the business is resilient to even shocks like COVID.
yeah, so thanks, Chris. But the thing that really mattered, even through that resiliency, we made a decision. We were not going to terminate staff. And where we saw that even that was a possibility, because I remember this was now coming down to maybe April or May, and I said, okay, I'm going to take a pay cut. And I actually, will you take a pay cut with me?
So you volunteered that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I will take the hit, but I know that some of the staff that we had would not be able to take the hit.
Yeah.
And certainly not at that time where things were looking so uncertain.
Yeah, man. Everything was shut down right as it came.
And that was a very clear decision that we made. And both of us said, all right, we'll take the hit. And to date, I have lost one person. and I still work with them same way.
We did pivot very quickly during it. I think I don't remember actually how much. Okay, you're right. Let me tell you what happened. What do you think we pivoted into as a medical supply? So what became our number one product? What's that? Mask. Mask. And we have what you call a government procurement certificate to sell the PPEs and all of that. So when I said we started to sell into prisons and the police, because at the end of the day, it's everybody wanted masks. And from a government perspective, the only people could still sell government stuff is people who were already in the business. And then we had we had companies now buying masks from us as well. We had that's a whole heap of different companies that we weren't. So our business, so we saw the dental thing kind of closed down, and we sold like thousands of thermometers. We started bringing I think we're the first to bring the thermometer. So everything that was selling on COVID, we quickly went into that. And
so agility.
So we're probably selling now 5 products, which accounted for 80% of our sales at that point in time.
Wow.
And that's why the management team leadership is important, right? We need entrepreneurs that can pivot, even in times of desperation, to turn things around.
Thanks for that, guys. Jason, and this is a question that's not often asked, but it should be. What's the work culture of your company like? How do you guys manage the general work culture and how your employees feel, working for Optimum?
Well, so let's start with the last part. Retention has a lot to do with your culture, and we have very good retention. A lot of the staff that we have are trending to some of them almost over 10 years. Yeah, right. And I think that speaks to just having a good work culture. I will say from a people management perspective, it is difficult because sometimes you don't want to deal with their nuances. You don't want to hear no arguments. You don't want to hear nothing. You just want to get the outcomes and move forward. One of the things that I realized that worked really well over the many years, I started to celebrate their birthdays. I cook for them for Christmas and host them on a consistent basis. And that kind of just allowed for you to let down your hair, chat foolishness, and there is no qualms with anybody. I have an open door policy. So I'm sitting at my desk, and even if I don't look up at you, it doesn't matter. You just push the door and just come through, because you are free to have a discussion around anything that you so desire that troubles you in that moment. So there's always this sense of openness. And then, we've tried to, I've particularly tried to always try and be fair. Even when I don't want to, I try to be fair. And if I feel like I'm not fair, then I will rally back with like Shelly. And Shelly will say, boy, honestly, yes, you're right about this, but no, you're not right about this. And then I self-correct and then do what is now necessary accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, we're a small company. It's 15, 17 people, 100 people. 15 people. Culture is very important. As you grow large, 100 people, it's very hard to maintain culture. But as it's at 15 people, you can't hide it. What you really like, you have to generally like your people, and them have to generally like you. And at 15 people, you know them don't like you, or
Yeah.
like, you know. But the thing is though is that with Jason and I, we generally try. And if people see you generally try, it generally works. If you fake, it never work, right? So we kind of self-correct each other and try to be fair. Not be stupid, because there's work to be done and there's money to be made. You understand? So you have to hold people accountable for the work in a very powerful way. But you have to be very understanding, right? Life gets in the way every day for all of us. So if you're sick, we understand. If you have a member of your family that died, we understand. I have members of my family that died, you have to understand as well, right?
Yeah.
When we achieve certain things, let's celebrate. Yeah, Jason can cook. I saw staff members get married, right? And Jason cooked the entire menu that they wanted. And a good, how much, like 5 course thing what Jason cooked. And I said, I'm toasting the guy. And I have said, boy, look, you actually have a boss, because I mean, in the day, we call him boss and that thing, who cooked every single damn thing for you for this wedding. I said, that's totally amazing, right?
Yeah, we're coming to that.
Yeah, man. So you know, you if you do that for employee, right? I say you can hide that because that is work and effort, and not buying no food, right?
Yeah.
So you must be willing, especially an entrepreneur, and if you really want employees to put out 120% if that's possible for you, you have to put out 120% for them as well.
Yeah.
You have to do it, right? If a member of the family die, sorry, you have to go to the funeral, right? If them sick, you go and visit. You understand? So you're there with them celebrating when things are good. You're there with them holding them hand when things are bad.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I
Yeah,
want to
and if you want to join the fastest medical and dental growing company, we're hiring.
Yes, that's
Just
a
to
fact.
put that out there, we're
But the
hiring.
guys, but you guys selling the company, so I was sending the resume as well. I want to pause for a moment to thank our partners. I mean, without our partners, we wouldn't be here today, quite literally. So we have First Rock Private Equity, Chris, big up yourself all the time, and
Thank you.
Visual Tech, Mark and his team over there for providing most of the equipment that you see here. Really, 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 Mark really gel everything together. I want to big up Digital Global as well, as Kemal and the team around there. Really appreciate the support from you. And of course, big up Dequity. We have the CFO here from Dequity, Kevin, who will be one of the judges tonight for a pitch deck as well. So much big up, much big up. So I actually want to go in the fun questions now. So last month, Chris said the longer I'm jog and run, the better I'm feel. So he's a man where easily run a 10K, feel much better, go back Superman, get the work done, right? Now, Jason, I hear from a little birdie that you like to cook, right? Now, I want to know, so when you say cook, and me have to ask this, when you say cook, you mean corned beef and rice cook, curry chicken cook, or oxtail cook?
Jason, be careful how you answer this, please.
No, because I feel like I'm going to get a lot of invites or requests for invites shortly. No, I can cook.
Cook,
Period.
Okay.
And I cook with chefs, so I've learned a lot of things over time. Different chefs, different techniques, different things, and so I share it with my friends and my family. I consistently cook every Sunday, so Sunday dinner is like a actual thing for me, and it is a production that takes place, and my dining table is set for it. So yeah, I do the full gamut when it comes to that.
All right. So follow-up question to that, and this is a question of critical importance, particularly to me. Now, as a man that know him food, we've never actually had a guest where at that level, the oxtail cooking level, a beer curry chicken level, guess we have, right? Which is better, turkey neck or oxtail?
So I will answer that you can do either one, but what makes it really great
Yeah.
is the use of guineas.
Guinness. Probably call me a chef. Me don't understand, but the chefs them understand. Any other chefs in the crowd understand? So what Guinness? So firstly, me don't know if me I gonna lose the points for this. Me can't drink Guinness.
No, you
I'm-
don't need to
I'm-
drink it. It's gonna evaporate anyway.
Also, what comes from it?
So there are two sets of things that you're contemplating. So whether it's turkey neck or actual oxtail itself, what it is that you really want is that soft tenderness,
Yeah.
right? Not everybody has a pressure cooker, so the cheats are soak it in alcohol before, and if you do that for let's say 30 to 40 minutes before, when you're now cooking it, all of that alcohol evaporates. You get the flavor of it, and then the meat is actually far more tender.
Wow, you take the cooking thing serious. I mean, just put it in the pot, just so we don't, we don't know what apart. Yeah, you got, I think it was last year I was talking to some guys from Trinidad. And guys, I love curry. If anybody know me, them know I eat curry every single day. Every single day. I eat at least one meal, curry
And that's
goat,
curry.
curry chicken. Yes, every single day for years now. And I did not know that curry is a culmination of different powders. So, and you can gauge
Turmeric.
the different powders
Yeah,
based on the
that's
taste.
that's turmeric, cumin, onion, garlic, all blended together.
Yeah.
The turmeric is what gives it that yellow color.
Yeah, so based on how you want chicken taste versus fish versus oxtail, for example, you gauge the different levels of powders that you put in the curry. That's what the real chefs do. The real chefs like Jesse, them not just buy Nutrimix, but the beta pack like us and burn it in the pot, right? So I found that out. I never knew. So I actually appreciate people that can cook. I mean, I don't eat a lot. So Chris, why you are the first man for laugh? Why you are the first man for laugh? But I really appreciate that. So Sheldon, what do you outside of starting different companies? What do you do for fun? Outside of that,
I'm going to Jason's house on a Sunday.
and going consistently every Sunday for that.
I'm very happy to say of late. I've taken my tennis very seriously with my son Craig. So I played tennis back in college and put it down. And so Kurt, I can probably play and bring out and play some tennis with you. So I've been playing a lot of tennis lately. Started going back to the gym a lot as well. I used to ride, but I actually fell down one time and I said, no, this thing kind of look a bit too dangerous for me. So far so good with the tennis and the gym.
Sheldon's one of those person that tried to talk to you in the gym, though.
Oh yeah. Following, supporting my son in whatever he wants to do is fun. So it's taking me all over the world. That is true too. Going to South America.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, Sheldon basically told us that throughout the time at UA, you done the passport book.
That's right.
Because it's stamped out. So you're a man that's well traveled. So I guess my next question might not work for you, but let me try. If you were to walk off the stage and visit one country now, where would it be? Regardless of whether you've been there before.
I went to Ibiza once. We have a song about it, and for that reason.
They do that to Ibiza.
But it was a really beautiful country. I mean, I stayed in an all-inclusive hotel that I didn't eat in there at all. The beaches were awesome. I mean, the clubs, they had clubs like crazy 24/7. And
Yeah, be careful now.
be careful now. Careful. I mean, the one place that I would actually want to go back to, and I will go back to, as I've been to several places. I've been thinking about it as the first place that kind of was came to mind, and I'm like whoa. But I'm learning as well. I mean, thanks to Craig in terms of Latin America. It's the restaurants are awesome there. The prices are excellent. The shopping is great. You don't need a visa to go there. So not everybody is, hell bent on going to the United States and all of that. South America, it's a great place to go to. I went to South Africa last year, Johannesburg, Cape Town, things like that. Also great places to visit. It's not even so expensive to travel either. Guys would know this. Your generation now. All these different sites are there. You can, if you're not picky as to what time you want to travel, then you can get great ticket prices. I actually went to South Africa and Cape Town for about $1,000 US. There for about 3 weeks. There for 3 weeks and working at the same time. Not like I can be over there, but I mean, that's another thing that we all learn. You can work from anywhere.
Talk about a
depending
South
on the
Africa thing there.
yeah. So when I went to Peru, I was working and doing business in Peru at the same time. So I encourage the entrepreneurs in the room to travel, meet people, make new partnerships. It's a part of enjoying life as well.
Chris, one country right now, where would it be?
Well, I want to go to all of those countries Sheldon just mentioned. Yes, I don't have one. I'm not as well traveled. So, after the IPO,
You
I'm
might
gonna
say
do some
work
traveling.
first. Work first, right?
Yeah, we're gonna put in the work. What I'll say is the journey. I mean, Sheldon mentioned that, but it's the journey. It's not so much the end. Sometimes you have to enjoy the journey. So, I'm along for the ride.
Thank you, Chris. I kind of want to drift into the questions so if the audience has any questions, do we have a mic roaming, Mark? Okay. All right, let me share this. Let me share this one. So, are there any questions in the crowd or from Twitter? If you're on Twitter and you have a question, you can share it, or you can request to be a speaker. We can let you through, let through the audio. Oh, so we have a question here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Digital global. Yes.
Good night, everyone. My name is Mark Campbell. Let's have a quick question. Earlier you spoke about, what you look for in a different company, such as the staff and the membership, like management, when you're either acquiring a company or so forth. One of my questions is, what do you look for exactly in a CEO in terms of like soft skills? Because it's easy sometimes to be able to walk into, and get a contract, but the skills it takes to get it is different than maintaining it. So as you say, if the relationship isn't right, they don't treat you right, then you move on. But the soft skill to be able to walk in and speak your mind and have that approach. What do you look for when you first meet like a CEO? What are soft skills?
Yeah, so we don't look for one. I mean, me personally, I don't look for one particular skill. One of the leadership qualities that is important to me for a CEO is just having a positive energy and a positive outlook. Because in entrepreneurship, there's so many ups and downs. Like I said, there's like COVID. There are months when we're not performing, and just typically in entrepreneurship, you may have months where you think you should have just stayed at your daytime job. So to be positive, it radiates, and it's infectious amongst the team, and I think that's important. So you can't let the team ever know when you're really down. You just have to maintain positivity.
Anybody else? Any other questions? All right. You can just let me know who the question is for. Remember, if you have any questions on Twitter, you can request to be a speaker, and we will let you in.
Sorry, good afternoon. Well, good night.
Yeah.
The question can be for any one of you. When you're in school, sorry, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're in school, you're taught a few concepts like what an entrepreneur needs in order to have a successful business, such as like determination and innovative spirit. What do you believe are the key components you need to be a successful entrepreneur, especially with things constantly shifting and changing so much? How do you ensure that you're always ahead of the game and you're always able to meet your demands and your targets?
So I'll start. So the first thing that I would say is, one, you need to be authentic to you. I find that when you're trying to jump through too many hoops all at once, it doesn't work for you. Just be authentic around what it is that you're trying to do. And if this is it, this is it. You stay focused on that. The second, always be disciplined. Third, read a lot. Not everything that you get out of university prepares you for what it is that you're supposed to do. I remember, this is what, the second building? I did a construction project and I have no project management skills. I know nothing around construction. And I went and learned about it to the point where I start tell the contractor exactly what to do. And when we got to the third building, I was now the contractor. And it's not because I'd had the skill sets given to me, but it's because I chose to just continue reading. And I think that that is where one of the strongest skill sets that you can possibly do, just continue to keep and improving yourself and encouraging yourself by enhancing your knowledge base.
For me, the number one thing, and I see some great entrepreneurs in the room, Kurt, Kamat, and Kamal, Kieran, I know Gordon's here as well. You have to have a big passion for what you're doing. That's for me is the number one, because that's gonna keep you going and going. When it's going gets tough, and you don't feel like this gonna be working. But if you have a passion, you really love what you're doing, you're gonna stick to it, right? And the second thing is you have to give yourself an edge. So if you have a passion for something, learn everything about it, right? You have to give yourself that edge where you're facing a competition where it's something that you know that nobody else knows. You can do that in this world if something that you're passionate about. If you're doing something and you're struggling to do it, just like if you're in a job that every day, like you're dreading Monday morning, you're just dying for Friday. You're not going to succeed there, so don't fool yourself. Find something you're very passionate about and then learn everything about it. And then, to me, everything else will fall into place. And of course, what I said, make sure your customer is number one.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of said it all, but for me, I would say it's persistence. You have to be persistent in everything you do. So don't give up. There's days when, things aren't working out. You just have to be persistent. And the second thing I would say is the ability to adapt. So don't fall in love with your first business, your first idea. You may want to start out selling mangoes and then you realize, I need to sell oranges. That's just how it is. Don't fall in love with that first idea. Don't ever fall in love with our business where you're blinded. Keep your eyes open and, be willing to adapt. The market will tell you what you need to do.
Thanks for that, guys. So I want to drift back to the last few questions that I have. Yes, I collected a lot of questions from the community. Give us an example, and you don't have to answer, of what your levels of sales and or profits are. Don't have to answer though, but you can just let us know.
Yeah, we don't want to answer.
All right, fine. So when the IPO comes in, hopefully 12 to 14 months, we can talk about that. All right.
Yeah, I'll just add that we're having a record first quarter. We're breaking through records. I don't know if it's just because of the first.
Chris, you're supposed to happy then, man. You're supposed to happy then.
I don't know if it's the magic touch, but we're seeing it already. For this first quarter, I mean, we bought the business on February 10th, and I'm just seeing record numbers on a monthly basis. Hopefully, we can keep up this projection. And at that point, when we're ready to come here again, we will tell you the numbers in detail.
All right. Oh, we have one more question from the back.
Good evening, everyone. No, I figured that before Optimum existed, dentists were buying, supplies from, whichever supplier was around. What would be the secret sauce you talk about that would allow Optimum to come into the market and then just rise? Because obviously dentists were, they had places that they could get things from before.
So I will answer this way, and it still is to the same point that Sheldon made before. You pay attention to your customers. What we have done consistently over the 30 plus years of our total operation is constantly listening to what is our customer asking for and responding accordingly. And as such, we have been blessed to have customers who continue to just keep doing business almost blindly, because we keep listening to what it is that they are asking for. So it's not me trying to sell you a black shirt when what you want is a white shirt. It is recognizing that what you want is a white shirt and us giving you a white shirt.
Yeah, I like that question, because it kind of bring me right back to, and tell you exactly what happened there. And there's something about, what happened? my passion is business and entrepreneurship. Because it's not that dental supplies, if you think about it, and I'm a nerd, is boring. But business is good. And I look for opportunities. The opportunity why I end up with the white rum story that I told earlier is because my brother put me on to somebody who had a wholesale store in New York and told me about some way I could just make money, right? And I did that. The other thing which I got into, my stepfather being a dentist, I'm helping my mother, and I'm seeing how much money that he is spending on dental supplies. Unfortunately for the person at that time who was selling dental supplies, I was seeing what he was selling it for. Because my uncle is a dentist, you have to think about in life where you actually have an advantage and use that. Because my uncle in the States now put me on to his biggest supplier there. And I go on and I convince him. It's another thing. Your reputation is everything. I got credit and I continue to get credit. At a very early age, I was getting up to in my NCB. It's free advertising by NCB. NCB gave me a credit card with 40,000 US dollars in my early 20s. And 40,000 US dollars is still a lot today. In my early 20s, they gave me that. So I built my business on NCB, seeing a young man when I registered it and said, Matilda's Corner, I'm a boring person. Matilda's Corner, I've gone through several bank managers there. They gave me a credit line, right? No, that supplier, it was so bad for him because what happened is that after I sold my stock, because I was always in the move, after I sold my stock to all the people that I wanted to, I went to that supplier and told him that I could supply him. And I used to supply wholesale to him. So I learned about wholesale system. So after I sold retail, I went to that supplier and sold him everything that I had wholesale. And he started ordering from me. So whole heap of right I'm going to New York, whole heap of dental supplies that I'm selling retail and wholesale. That supplier, a kid that's like you, him call me one day because one of his number one customers tell him that I'm selling to him. Him come to me and said to me, say, why am I selling to his customers? I can't use the word S my pants, but I nearly S my pants because this is a big rotted man telling me that I'm doing something that is unethical and all. And that him say, I'm going to stop by from me again. And I was like, rotted, and I feel bad and and I went and I'm a person, I go and talk to my parents and blah, blah, blah. And so I said, what are you worried about? Go on, do what you're doing. And all of a sudden I was like, well, maybe it's not a bad thing then, I don't know. So I continued doing what I'm doing. So what eventually happened to him? Him go out of business. Literally, that's what happened to him. This is years ago. He had to went out of business. So again, just thinking about it, my passion was for business. It's not dental. Dental is boring. But I mean, I had an advantage and I made use of it. Now that guy, obviously, him never pivot. Him never see what I was doing. Him probably wasn't building relationships. Him get lazy. Don't be lazy if you're passionate. Don't be, if not, some other person's gonna come and who stole my cheese? That's what's gonna happen to you. So it coming like it was no coming. Stop buying from me, and yeah, my sales drop. I had to work a little bit harder, but I'm still here today. We're still here today.
All right, thank you. It's on one. Yeah, thank you, Sheldon. Thanks again to everyone. I just want to go around one more time and ask if there's anything that you'd want to leave with the audience, both here and online.
I guess to take, I'm not sure what as the most meaningful thing as a takeaway would be, other than stick to your passion, be diligent, be consistent more than anything else, and be disciplined. That's it.
Thank you, John.
What I can say to you, and I remember I must tell you because I joined JMB long before they went public, and I remember joining JMB and speaking to the phone. I joined JMB with about 40 odd people working there. Right now there's probably about 2,000 people working there. But when I joined JMB, I remember the founder saying to me, Shell, I'm gonna list soon, buy shares in the company, I'm gonna make you rich. I joined JMB when I was in my 20s. And if the CEO was telling me that, I was like, and this is a true story, right? You can check back how long I was working at JMB. And I took up money and I bought shares in JMB and I worked hard at JMB and JMB is where it is today. I'm telling you right now, we have a dream team with this partnership. These guys here have done amazing things. All right. I mean, we have this Dr. Banbury, Michael Banbury on the board. Um, he's a medical doctor. He just bought, some other guys bought medical associates, and he's been in business for a very, very long time. You have Ryan Reed, who's another very young, very successful entrepreneur. I know Chris from Proven. We both worked together under Chris Williams, who's another genius. If Chris was here, Chris Williams has built a foundation, Proven, which I'm a day one investor in Proven. As soon as Chris tell me that he's gonna go and start Proven, I just went in there and from day one I said, Chris, here you go, man. I'm riding with you. This company has a lot of upside. Has a lot of upside because you have experience. This business been around for a very long time, right? We're gonna be around for another 100 years. I got kids. I'm looking forward to leaving my shares, to my grandchildren, my great grandchildren, and all of that, right? These guys saw. I mean, one of the things that I did, which I'm glad, my auditors that I was using at the time is the same auditors that they use, and that's a marriage made in heaven because they said, look, and I'm gonna have a tag. It was Baker Tilly I was using, and they said, God, that's what their auditors. So
Yeah, big up Wayne.
big up Wayne, because they said, look, Wayne is gonna producing numbers, and they're not. He's already their client. He's not giving them numbers that don't make any sense. So they felt comfortable in the numbers, right? So we were already, as Jason said, acting as if we were a public traded company before we were public, right? From day one, Jason, I put in all the IT systems. We have real time P&L running from long time. I mean, I put in banking systems. So I'm gonna put in my companies. Technologies we have technology for all kind of things down at Optimum. Now we have people with serious expertise, capital, and focus. What they have done as well is hire experts that come in and provide help us with marketing, accounting, legal support, strategy, you name it. So it's like a dream team. So, and I'm big on collaboration. I'm very big on it. So this is a company, I'm encouraging to look out for. You're not going to be disappointed. As a matter of fact, we'll come here 5 years later. If I see any of you, I took a picture. If you never buy, I will be laughing at you. I said, I told you. So I'm really looking out for you to come in, buy into this company. The sky is the limit. These guys are already in Ghana now. There's some easy wins. I'm just telling you, it's like, to me, it's like a no-brainer.
Just a disclaimer, not investment advice, because the company is not even listed. The company is not listed.
It's not listed. It's a private company.
We're excited about it.
It's a private company. But I'm telling you, I felt when Joe Duncan sit down to me and as a young man saying, wow, are you serious? I didn't even know what listing mean at that time. But I was like, you're telling me this? Here's my money.
All right, Chris, you can.
Yeah, thanks for that. And these guys are real salesmen, right? So I'll just leave the audience with one takeaway. For me, it's take risks. That's one of the most important things I've learned. Take risks sooner than later. Take that leap of faith. I quit my job at Proven, where I was, VP of whatever I was doing. I could have sat there and just relaxed. And not quit my job in COVID, take a leap of faith. There was months when I wasn't getting paid when I co-founded the company with Ryan Reed and Michael Banbury. So take that leap of faith. The reason why is, if you're in your day job and 5 years later down the line, you're answering yourself or thinking about what if I took that leap of faith, that is something that I could not have lived with anymore. So I said, the hell with it. I quit my job. Without me quitting my job, there wouldn't be the dollar, there won't be my ocean, there won't be, I'm not saying they wouldn't have been, but they wouldn't have been in this position. So take that leap of faith as an entrepreneur. Take the risk. Go for it.
Thanks, Chris. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Guys, they were very early, right? They come like even before the setup, right?
No, I was hostile.
I
cut him off.
Nothing that I'm not used to, we are professionals. So I really appreciate you coming. I really appreciate you sharing your information with us, and hopefully looking forward to Optimum Trading being listed on the Junior Stock Exchange. Hear me a limit here. Just say on the stock exchange. We don't know where we're going to be next year. Listed on the stock exchange in short order. Again, congratulations, Chris. So big up Chris from First Rock Private Equity for supporting Stocks on the Rocks and for continuing to support Stocks on the Rocks. I want to big up Kemal and the team from Digital Global. Big up, Adrian, Kevin, and the team from Dequity, and big up Visual Tech and the team that supports us with all the very expensive, actually very expensive equipment. Really, really love the assistance there. And of course, big up Jason, video man, always ensuring that we capture everything, all the content, etc., and all the teams behind Trevor and Renee. Really appreciate it. So, Stocks on the Rocks is not necessarily over. The interview section is over, but we're drifting into pitch deck, where we have 5 entrepreneurs tonight who are a part of 15 that are vying for 110,000 US dollars in grants, that was provided by Paul Simpson, 100,000 US dollars, and Tyrone Reed, which is 10,000 US dollars. And of course, there are other prizes as well, right? So we're looking forward to that. We're drifting into that. Thank you so much, team. I really appreciate you
Yeah, man,
being
thank
here.
you.
No, say something. Mic check, audio check, 1, 2. Hey, mic check, 1, 2. Hey, 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 hey. Mic check, 1, 2. Hey, mic check, 1, 2. Audio check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.
Check, check 1, 2. Hey, hey, hey. Let's leave that one as the.
Mic check, 1, 2. Audio check. Mic check, 1, 2. Hey, mic check, 1, 2.
You see, when they're speaking about certain things, I get it. I understand what they're saying.
So, this one. No, yeah, so this one, you know.
Check 1 2. Mark, leaving this on. Mic check 1 2. Audio check. Hey.
Hi everyone. So we're going to start in 3 minutes. Gonna start in 3 minutes. So network, talk, socialize, drink a little responsibly, and then let's go. Pitch Deck JA. We have Yard Labs first. Think Yard Labs was online. I'm really looking forward to it. From Twitter Spaces. Yeah. So where you go? Oh, Kingston Jerky. Oh. Who will go first, you see? Who will go first? Huh? Check, check. Yes. Ready, ready, ready. We are ready to go. We are ready to go. So I'm just asking the judges, Miss Krista Forbes, Mr. Mark Gale, Mr. Kevon. So just asking the judges to come up to the judges table, asking everybody to get settled. We can network and socialize after. We can network and socialize after. All right. Let's go. Hartnell knows everybody in the room. We can network and socialize after. So ready, guys. Ready. Oh, you're not hearing me. Okay. Ready to go. Ready to go. Thanks, Mark. Ready to go. We're ready to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're ready to have some exciting pitches tonight. We have a culmination of pitches from, I think, one of the contestants are online, and the remainder of the contestants are live. So it will be a mixture of pitches today. I want to ensure that when you see your favorite pitcher or your favorite founder, your favorite entrepreneur from tonight, you can, big them up, give them some word of advice, clap them, you know. All right, so let's go around the back. One of my favorite parts of SOTR is that, we love strong. Who we get that from? That's not my term. Who said love strong? A TLC don't. Because it just comes from my mind and he's like, that's a good say. That's good. So we love strong. So when we see each other every month, we talk, we hug, we socialize, we talk about investments. But now it's time to come back. Dragging you in. The One Great team is here. Big up One Great Studio for supporting Pitch Deck JA. I have a funny story to tell about Javane. Not about Ultimate Frisbee Javane. Something else. The one they still know. You know? So our first company for the night is Yard Labs. They are ready and raring to go. So we will let Yard Labs into the room. We're giving them a little time because we know how that works. The gents at the back. Me I forgot to start call name. Me never want to call name, Julian from Proven at the back. We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Me know everybody in the room, so I can. Or Ireland, me know Ireland when they talk to, So, perfect. Hi, guys.
Go again.
We're ready?
To go. We're not hearing you. No.
We're not ready for him to speak yet, I have to do the introduction first. All right, guys over the bar. Okay, let's find our way back, please, after you get your drink. So, welcome into our almost seamless transition into Pitch Deck JA. Almost seamless. I'm really happy to be here today. This is part one of 3-part finals. We've come from 70 plus pitch decks down now to just 15. We have 5 of them going tonight. So 5 great entrepreneurs, great businesses going tonight. They are vying for a share of 110,000 US dollars, right? Convert that into Jamaican dollars is little under 17 million Jamaican dollars, right? Uh, they will also get marketing support or content push support from Wayne Marshall. He has, gracefully provided that and said that the winners, he'll help them to push their businesses through his platform. The PSOJ has provided 1 year free membership for each of the winners. So each of the winners, will have the ability to tap into that network, and I'm just really happy to be here. Also, Blue Dot has committed to giving each winner support on the research side. So if they want to do additional research based on even feedback from the judges, about the business, about the industry, then that is completely possible. So welcome again to those that are here live. Welcome to those on Twitter. Welcome to those on YouTube. We, as always, really appreciate you being here, right? And I just want to big up One Great Studio. Now, One Great Studio, I must tell you, when Paul and I discussed this idea very late last year, and I reached out to Juvain of One Great Studio. Juvain is the CEO and founder of One Great Studio, and I asked about this. The guy created the website with his team on a holiday, right? Man worked through the holiday just to ensure that we had a website up. So big up Juvain and the team. I hope it was Juvain plus the team and not Juvain on the face of it, then the team, But I know he's not that type of guy. So big up yourself, Juvain. I really appreciate that. We appreciate the support that your team has given us in terms of creating the content. I see Gina and I have had some heated WhatsApp messages and calls about communication, right? So we really appreciate the support in all the ways that you've given us. I appreciate the support from the judges that have been here from the prelims, and the guest judges that have joined us as well. So we have Krista Farbs, we have Mark Gale, Juvain Brownie joined us on an episode as well as Kemal from Digital Global. So it's not really been a one-person thing. It's really been, a lot of support from everybody here. So Paul should be joining us online. I won't tell you where he is because that might give away the cornerstone strategy, but he'll be joining us from somewhere in the sky. We can just call it that. So without further ado, I'll just take my seat. But before I actually do that, I actually want the judges that are here to introduce themselves. And ladies first. Let me start with Krista.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Krista Gay Forbes. I am the founder of Optima, the agency, and I'm also a marketing consultant. Essentially, I help small businesses and startups to develop marketing, launch, and growth strategies to scale their businesses. I'm excited to be here, and I did not bring any snacks.
No snacks. All
I don't
right.
have the
So,
snacks.
guys, the prelims, each of the prelims were constructively long. I'll leave it at that. So Krista, and I have a running joke about her bringing an entire meal to ensure that it lasts there. But she has water tonight, and it should be shorter because we only have 5 pitches. Mark Gale.
Okay. Good night, everyone. I'm Mark Gale. I guess you can say a startup or a small company advocate. I'm also a financial literacy advocate or loudmouth, as it were. I work with a whole bunch of companies. I run a small company. We sell greeting cards and tote bags for women, and I do a bunch of consulting and a bunch of stuff.
Guys, I'll tell you a joke about Mark. When we were going through the 70 plus pitches, on that fateful Sunday, almost every single business and industry that we discuss, Mark said, "Oh, I used to do that. I mean, I was in farming when I was at that age. Oh, I played the violin for a short period of time, and I was supposed to go to music school, and it was like, Mark, how much deep knowledge? I mean, Mark knows a lot more.
Okay, guys, this is not about me.
About Stimen video too.
Lord of mercy.
He worked with athletes.
Yes, athlete too. I mean, a lot, right? So Mark and Krista have really been providing a lot of support. So if you tune in at all, you would have, caught some of the information that they would have shared with businesses. I can say every week that I learned something as well, right? So big up yourself. Tonight we have a new judge with us. Kevin, can you introduce yourself?
Right. Good night, everyone. My name is Kevin McIntosh. I'm the CFO for Decorative Capital, who is a private. Sorry,
Thank
private
you.
company. Based in St. Lucia, operates in Jamaica with a number of portfolio companies, including Dollar, Royal Medical, Elite Concepts, just to name a few. My main role there really is to ensure the financial viability of the PE fund, however, as well as provide financial and accounting advisory and any form of assistance really to our portfolio companies to ensure their viability.
All right, thank you so much. My visual tech team that is also sponsoring us is saying that please, guys, don't join the live in the room because the mics will pick it up and it will bounce it around the room, right? So Kevin is being modest. So Chris wasn't modest up here, because Chris said him 10 times a company, which is dollar, right? But technically, you're 10 times a company too, right? Because Decoty is also a major shareholder in Dollar Financial as well, right?
He's
So
also an alumni of KPMG. He's been very, very modest. But anytime I have any questions about anything to do with like deep accounting or finance, Kevin is always my first call.
Yeah, man, big auditor, same. So, matter of fact, I thought you were going to say an alumni of Calabar, the Calabar High School. But
No.
guys, you know I'm very straightforward. I want to tell you everything that I have that's green and black is dirty. I don't know how even the SOTR shirt dirty. I don't know how this managed to tap me today. But no, he's not a Calabar man, unfortunately, even though he could fit in easily. I want to send my big ups to Calabar and winning the boys and girls champs for 2023. We really appreciate all the competition that was there and the records, the other records that were broken, It's fine. So without further ado, I want to get us started. So I'm going to be there and then I'm going to patch in the first pitch, which is going to be just audio only. So please, when you're pitching, please give them the time to, and just be silent, please. For the entrepreneurs that are here, please walk this way up because of the camera, So yeah, let's get started. Judges, you ready? All right.
Good night, everybody. Just checking to see if everyone can hear me.
All right. Yeah, man, I can hear you. Hold on 1 second, please. Let me get the timer up.
All right, sure.
So I'll just give you 30 seconds to introduce yourself first before the time goes.
Oh, thank you very much, man. So good night, everybody. My name is Jamion Jones, CEO and founder of a company called The Yard Labs. And, I just want to say, on behalf of my wife and there in person tonight, but unfortunately, I'm not sure if it's something I ate, but I've been unwell since yesterday morning. But, happy and pumped to be here and, happy that, something like this is happening for entrepreneurs in Jamaica. So absolutely delighted to be able to pitch. Thanks again for hosting this event and for hosting us. And whenever you're ready, I'd love to tell you more about what we do.
You can let me know when you're ready, and I'll start the time. You have 5 minutes. When you have 1 minute left, I'll put a hand up in the space, and then when you have no time left, I'll put another hand up.
Okay, got you. So I'm ready. So I'm good to go. All right. So good night again, everybody. Simon, I'm not sure if you started the counter, but in short, I run a company called Yard Labs. It's a Web3 student agency. In short, we like to tell people that we make NFTs for the international community, and we help Caribbean creatives, companies, and countries do the same. A fun fact about us: as of today, over 40 million USD worth of wealth is interested in what we're trying to bring to market. So much so that they've actually already gifted us 70,000 USD towards building out an MVP. So really quickly, just to bring you through the problem, what it is that we're trying to solve, and then later explain, some of these terms that, some people in the crowd might not be familiar with. But in short, the problem that we're looking to solve is, and it's simple, creatives earn too little. I'm sure you've heard of the starving artist, and brands need to earn more, because who doesn't like to see green or black on their P&L? The solution, non-technical infrastructure to make NFTs and expertise to grow communities. So in short, just to maybe, bring it home, make that a bit clear, you can think of it like a platform. So say, for example, you're a creative, you have a piece of art, you have IP that you're looking to turn into an NFT, you simply upload it to the site that we're building, and then without any coding experience, you can produce an NFT. That's actually the scalable side of the model. It's the self-help service, so to speak. Now, beyond that, we have a hand-holding service, client services, if you will, where we charge a fee to bring, the customer, again, be it a creative, a company, or a country, not only from making the NFT, but to help them from their go-to-market to security and treasury. All right. So I guess the big question, if you said to me, okay, well, you don't understand what an NFT is, we'd say to you, that's okay. Most people didn't know what social media was either. We'll teach you. If an easy way to think about it, like broadly speaking, you can think of it as a new way to present and monetize media. All right. So what does that mean? If you think about Pokemon, the cartoon, how they presented their media, was via an animated series on Cartoon Network. But how they monetized that relationship between the audience and their content was through digital collectibles like trading cards, physical trading cards, and video games and that kind of a thing. So we're saying there's actually this new technology that allows you to present IP in a new format, as well as to monetize same. So in short, it's just another way for creatives or brands to be able to leverage their equity with their fan base or with their audience to be able to earn more. The market, we serve on the studio side, we serve the international community and the Cardano users specifically. And then on the agency side, we serve Caribbean creatives, companies, and countries. The total addressable market is 34 billion, the SAM is 370 million, and the SAM is 26 million. In terms of competitors, keen to note is that as of today, there are no major players in the Caribbean. So we actually see this as a blue ocean. It's an opportunity to capture market share and to capture value from being able to lead in what is a new frontier of the web. In terms of competition, internationally, there are major studios with multi-billion-dollar valuations, Yuga Labs, Dapper Labs, Coinbound, and Recur. And generally speaking, across the board, you'd find that the pricing model doesn't vary much. It tends to be anywhere between 5 to 10% in commission, 5,000 to 10,000 USD in upfront fee on the agency side. And then on the pricing side, for the studio, for the creator studio, as the scalable side of the business, it's around 2 USD per NFT made. So just to give you guys some context. On the team is myself, an award-winning marketer, Randy Burrell, former chief technical officer for several international blockchain companies, Alwyn White, a pioneer in the Caribbean animation industry, David Harris, head of experience, manager at some top resorts from a young age. He'll be key to operations. Richard Burnett, head of client services, very experienced in this field. Gashwin Hudson, head of art, very talented illustrator at one of the major studios in the Caribbean. In terms of capital needs, we're asking for around 4.4 million GMD. In terms of support services, it's a legal, business development, talent sourcing is what that we're hoping to get at some point. And then, in short, in terms of the strategic outlook, you can think about what we're doing as follows. We're launching a collection, just to demonstrate, a proof of concept. We're growing the IP through animated content. Think back to the same Pokemon example that I gave you.
Yeah.
And then we'll bring that success to win clients. So that's it. Thank you very much. Help us become the next breakout company in the Caribbean. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jamion. Thank you for presenting that. Let me, guys, we like that? Good? All right. Let me hand over first to Kevon, baptism by fire.
All right, wonderful pitch, Yard Labs. Yeah, I was able to understand what you're saying fully. I know who your target market is. I know basically what the industry is. One of my initial questions though is, I heard you mention that you got a $70,000 grant for an MVP bundle, but do you have any has there been any actual revenue for the business so far?
No, we're still pre-revenue at the moment. With your help, we can actually get revenue in another 4 months. So just in case you never heard, we're pre-revenue. Can you guys hear me?
Now you're breaking up a little. Try again, Jamion.
Okay, so I was saying that we're pre-revenue. So we still can't hear me.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so we're pre-revenue, but with your help, we can get to revenue in another 4 to 6 months.
You do mention that one of your largest target markets are the artists and those creatives who want to monetize their work. What's your relationship with that community now? Have you garnered any interest from them thus far?
So the focus.
If you were supposed to do a projection based on who you've spoken to before, what would you say is your revenue projection in the next 6 months?
Funny enough, at launch, we believe that we can do around 600,000 USD to 1.2 million USD. We believe that just based on the community interest that we've gotten so far, it's not so much on the creator side in the Caribbean. The focus first is our studio-made product. So it's the international community. From that group of individuals, they funded us to see what we're looking to bring to market. So we'd estimate that we can do anywhere between 600,000 to 1.2 million USD in 6 months.
So, and this is purely from the international market?
Yes, that's correct.
Has there been any interest locally?
Yes, not so much on the creator side, but from some local celebrities as well as companies. We've actually even opened dialogue with a local government agency as well. So yes, there's interest, but the feedback is all pretty much the same. They want to see us demonstrate the use of the technology, the value it can provide. So that's the focus of the company right now, to launch something studio made, and then to circle back, go back to these pipelined clients and say, hey, we've done around $1 million USD in sales. Imagine what we could do for you. So that's the play.
I'm not beating them, but the reason I ask is you did mention that the Caribbean and local and Caribbean market is basically a blue ocean, but then the international market has very large players who have majority of that market. So I wanted to be sure that you've actually assessed the Caribbean and local market that you consider a blue ocean and know that you're able to earn enough revenue from that market.
Yeah, for sure. We've talked to some big names with established audiences. Some of the drops, we believe that, they're independently, even without our help. Once we, let's say, set up the infrastructure such that people can pay with fiat currency, we believe that some of these drops are worth up to 2 million, 3 million USD. So to answer you in short, we do see a market and we do have interest. It's just a matter of being able to establish a local track record.
Just another question. Sorry. So, what if it is that the local market doesn't work out? What percentage of the international market do you think you can take?
All right. So at the moment, we already have 40 million USD worth of interest. It's just a matter of converting that interest into sales. And we believe that we can because they've already given us the vote of confidence in giving us capital to get to market. So I guess in short, we expect that number to grow over time. We actually believe that we're a high growth prospect. We actually genuinely believe that in another 5 years' time, all being equal, we can fetch $100 million US valuation. I know it's ambitious, but it's possible. We think we can get to 10 million, 13 million in profit.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mark.
All right. Yeah, good pitch, Jamie. And I had a few questions. So I'm still trying to, kind of like wrap my mind around this, right? So bear with me if I ask some very, very simplistic questions. If I'm understanding it correctly, essentially what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be taking inputs from Caribbean creators and then selling them to international markets, right? So, and this is through a number of ways. Either, you effectively, create NFTs or mint NFTs based off of their creations, and then you sell that on, normal kind of like global NFT markets. So that's one instance, and then the other instance is working with international brands and or Caribbean brands and pairing them with Caribbean creators. Is that a kind of like a very, 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 very simplified version of your business models?
Correct. You're not far off. To maybe sum it back to you, we would make NFTs, so we'd create our own IP. You can think anywhere between, digital collectibles, like an animated series, literally anything creative. And we would sell that as a company, as our own product to the international community. Now, for the Caribbean players, for Caribbean creatives that you mentioned, the Caribbean companies, it's a similar story. For the Caribbean creatives, let's say they don't have their own audience, and this is one of the advantages that we would have having set up the studio. We would be able to lend them our audience to gain initial traction.
Okay.
But beyond that, right.
So then let me ask you this. And okay, yeah, that was one prong that I forgot, which is homegrown IP that you then leverage. But let me ask you this. All right, so let's just say that you won, you got the money, and then you have done the development on day one of when you are going to market and actually earning revenue. Let's say in month one, what does that look like? Like, how do you get to? I know you said year one, you're thinking that you could get to 600,000 to $1.2 million in revenue. But just walk me through how you get to the first $50,000 in revenue, or even the first 10,000 US in revenue. Like, what does that look like?
Perfect. And you actually have the perfect background to give you like a good anecdote. So I remember you telling a story about a merchandise drop that you did. I believe it was with Wayne Marshall. So the model works similarly, right? When we say we're doing a studio-made project, we're doing a drop of sorts. So just like how you sold merchandise to an audience that was ready to buy it, we're going to sell collectibles to an audience that's ready to buy it. And we've already done the dirty work, so to speak, in finding them. And they were the ones to say, hey, we like what it is that you're developing. Here's 70,000 USD to ensure that it gets to us. So on day one, we'll be selling around 6,200 of them. The price is still to be decided. We're in between around 100 to 200 USD. We'll estimate that if we sell out, that we can do anywhere again between 600,000 to 1.2 million USD. I hope that answers it.
Yes. So I think that's a great start. So to be clear, and all these drops, I'm assuming they'll be done in Ethereum. Is that like some crypto token or?
Correct. But it's on a different blockchain, one called Cardano.
Okay, Cardano. All right, got you. So, okay, so if effectively what you're doing is building up the digital inventory with the Caribbean creators, and then you're doing these drops to your, the network that you've built up, or to like a waiting audience effectively. And then, so let's say you do that, right? And then in the first drop, you sell at 70,000. Let's just use $70,000. How does that work? Like, how do the economics work? Like, how much goes to the artist? How much goes to the company?
All right, so let's say they do a self-service type of a thing. So we're not hand-holding. They're just using our platform to mint the NFT, and then they go and place it on a marketplace themselves. All we'd be charging them is $2 per NFT. But let's say they want hand-holding services, right? Just to give you like an idea of the economics. It can be one of a couple things. So if it's a case where we're just doing from everywhere from minting the NFT to the go-to-market, all we do is charge 5% of whatever the sales are. We estimate, and again, it just depends on the creator and the feedback that we get from the community, but it can range. Let's say that the person doesn't get as much traction, we might just have them sell 100 in a collection for maybe just $100 a piece. Or it could be that the community loves what it is that they're bringing to market as well. For us to say, okay, all right, we see where demand is being established. We can sell a collection out for $600,000. Then that's where like our 5% chips in. Apart from that, there's also an upfront fee. It's anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000. So I guess in summary, for the scalable side of the business, we charge a flat fee per NFT minted. And then like when we're doing hand-holding services, let's say it's with a Usain Bolt, let's say it's a creative that we believe has a lot of potential. If we do the regular client services, 5%. And then on the flip side too, I should have mentioned this, if we finance the project ourselves, like they're not willing to put up the capital to fund the go-to-market strategy, we'd actually take down 50%. So we'd be partners in the drop. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good. I mean, I had some more, but Krista, I said a whole heap of questions on Krista, so I'll make her go.
All right.
I'm still working through just understanding it. I'm hearing a few things, so forgive me if some of my questions are a little simple as well. So right now, it sounds like you're looking to launch your own product. You're looking to launch your own platform, and then on the platform there'll be different ways that you'll be able to work with creative or creators. So you'll kind of do a thing where they can use the platform themselves, basically create the product themselves, and then sell it that way on your platform that you own. So you get a piece of that. But there's also the aspect of it where you can help them, or you can finance the project on their behalf or with them, and you take a piece afterwards. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. I will say though that we're not a marketplace. We're a platform. So meaning somebody can come and make the NFT. Somebody could, but the third party distribution where people would actually, their actual customers or the community where they go to buy it would be a third party. Let's say it's a JPEG store, or Mark seems familiar with Ethereum, so OpenSea in that case. So just to give you color, we're not a marketplace per se, or we just help them make the thing that is, let's say, technically cumbersome for most people.
And thank you for that. And you said 6 months out from essentially going to market and actually starting that process of generating revenue.
Correct. 4 to 6 months, correct.
So, and I might have missed this. So what is exactly stopping you from, like, what is standing between you and that actually going to market? What's that one thing? Is it the money? Like, what's missing?
All right. So right now we do have the skill set in-house on the core team to be able to go to market on our own. The thing though is that it would take quite a bit of time. Like animation is actually very cumbersome. It's a lot for 1 to 2 persons to do. So to actually help them, we have capital would help us, be able to bring in the labor to build out the IP, so that when we do go to market, we have something very nice to bring in a short space of time. So in short, with your help, we could actually do it in 4 to 6 months. Without your help, we take a significantly longer time.
Got it. So my final question would be, tell me a little bit more about your experience actually bringing stuff like this to market? Or this would be,
So-
have you done it in the past, or this would be your first time?
So, me personally, I've just been participating in the market as a collector. I've been in and around the community for years now, but I've not launched anything myself personally. My co-founders, however, in Randy Burrell, he's actually done some of the largest like integrations. He's done several drops before. He's actually worked with big names like Spotify and Paperchain Inc. So he's actually the one on the team with experience with doing these kinds of drops before. However, I will say this, because I've been involved in the community, I've been doing work for them for free for years now. I have come to gain the kind of understanding needed to do it on our own. And not only that too, we actually have contacts, into the metaverse, Firecask, a few agencies that we've worked closely with, over the last couple of years too, learning from them, so to speak. And they've done several multi-million-dollar drops themselves. So yes, we do have the experience in-house to be able to bring something like this to market.
Okay, great. So my final question would be, essentially, your ask is essentially what's stopping you from going to market, or it's taking you a little bit of time to get to market because you're kind of missing out on that $4.4 million. So my question would be, one of the things that you're going to be providing to creators that you partner with is going to be that actual hand-holding type of thing where you're actually helping them to go to market. You are currently pre-revenue. Why is it that you haven't pretty much gotten revenue from doing just that piece and basically raised the money that way?
So for context, we've actually gone not so much to small creators, but we've gone to, bigger name athletes in the country with an international following, large artists with an international following, and even some large brands as well. They're interested, but the feedback was, in one case, they never wanted to be the first, let's say, high profile reggae artist to do it. They want to see others do it first, and then at that point, they'd revisit a relationship. In another case, they ended up using Tom Brady's company. Tom Brady actually has a similar business as well. And in another case, they said that they just want to see, what it is that we can produce. They want to see it work. So I said that all to say we actually wasted 6 months trying to court on the client side, people to try this thing. But it's because it's new. They need to get comfortable. And it's funny because we've seen the use cases. For example, there's a project called Crypto Rastas. They did like 2 million USD in 6 months. They're Jamaican branded, but not Jamaican owned. They're Brazilian owned and based. I said that to say that the use cases are there, but people aren't yet comfortable. So our idea as a company was not to waste any more time on the client services side of the business to bootstrap it, so to speak, but rather focus on a studio-made product to be able to take that success and say, hey, we've made $1 million USD. Imagine you, Usain Bolt, with your 6.5 million followers, your 10 million followers. Imagine what we could do for you. So that's just the strategy. That's what happened. So we pivoted and decided to go the studio route first and then client services.
Okay. So I can understand why you'd go in that direction. Essentially, it's easier to generate revenue on that side because you don't really have to convince. Like, you already have a captive audience. They want to buy the product that you will be putting out. So you essentially have to create that product, and then you generate the money there, and then go to the people who are just like, hey, we want to see it first, and then convince them or not. Yes?
Correct.
So what about the audiences? And it's my final question. What about the going to places where people are already interested, where they're already doing drops and they would want to, or they're already interested in potentially doing drops and would want to partner with you? Why go after a more colder audience that needs a lot more education? Why not go after people who are a little bit more warm, already have an understanding, may have done drops in the past? Like, why not go in that direction?
Well, if they've done drops in the past, they wouldn't necessarily need our help. And truth be told, like in the landscape of providing, let's say, minting services to, let's say, people who are already familiar with NFTs and how it works, there are existing, big name players. So the advantage that we have, like, it's dual. Like, if people are interested in Caribbean IP, so we're the ones that we want to export culture as a company. And then the second fold, like, what's interesting is that there's nobody currently servicing the Caribbean. And if there's interest in Caribbean IP, we would like to help Caribbean IP holders to be able to go to the international market. So in short, we don't want to compete where it's bloody. We'd like to compete where there's open waters.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Kevin ended up asking the question that I wanted to ask. But thanks a lot, Jamie, and really appreciate the pitch. And we'll be moving immediately into the next pitch by Naturalist, who is live. So I will ask Naturalist to join us, to come around this way, please. All right, so the Naturalist team is here and live. I want to use this opportunity while the team comes up to thank Summit Kingston for accommodating us tonight. It's a great room, much bigger than we are used to, but we're fitting in nicely. So big up to the entire Summit Kingston team. Thank you so much.
Can you hear me? Everyone hearing me well? All right. Should be. Is there a click up?
There's a signal issue. Like a card got kicked off. Okay. What was that video? Brandon, this is yours?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. Streaming on YouTube? Or no? Yeah.
All right, Brandon. So I'm going to just give you 30 seconds to just introduce yourself and/or your team and the name of the business. Yeah, and then you can tell me when to start the time.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Good night, everyone. So again, my name is Brandon Campbell. I'm a co-founder. Casey Lee Wright, the other co-founder, is in the back over here, and our business name is Naturalist. So without further ado, let's get at it. All right. So good night again. Naturalist is an agri-tech company focused on distribution with the aim of national food security. We use technology to simplify the sourcing and delivery of agricultural products to wholesale consumers. That may include small businesses, families, and bargain shoppers. Now, the biggest hurdles to achieving Jamaican food security are farm support and low market access, which is shown in the statistics at the end of 2021 that all of our farmers, over 250,000 of them, got less than 20% of the 1.2 billion US dollar agribusiness industry. And the reason for that is because we just don't have enough food experts or agro-extension officers, as we call them here in Jamaica, to advise both farms and businesses in production, processing, and distribution of those farm products. So what we decided to do was to create a digital extension officer, which we call the agro manager, that allows us to manage the technical services which we offer to our partnering farms, as well as data analytics, which allows us to engage our customers. The aim of this solution is to reduce the cost of food by using technology to innovate inefficient processes in the supply chain, which reduce costs by making jobs simpler and drive revenue by improving the customer experience. So our target market or our market opportunity is seen in four main areas or parishes: St. Mary, St. Anne, St. Catherine, which we primarily use for contracts, and Kingston and St. Andrew, which we have personal shoppers as well as businesses located there. The average order size for our customers, we realized over the previous 2 years, was about $12,000, and we have an order frequency of about once per week for each of those. Now, this industry is still a highly inefficient one, with over 30% of all food wasted before it even gets to a consumer. And we can see that where our existing competitors have marketed produce from farms, be it via retail or wholesale, and the wastage is high because there's no control over the customer experience, as well as the fact that there is no access to the market data. So things that should be varied based on consumer trends are not varied at all. Furthermore, the experience when us as personal shoppers visit local markets is not necessarily ideal, given the poor hygiene, inconvenience due to lack of availability of items, as well as the untraceability. You don't know where the food is coming from sometimes. And so Casely and myself feel like with the over 7 years of agricultural experience that we have, as well as our background in building solutions via robotics, as well as analyzing weather data through our degrees and experiences at the University of the West Indies, we feel like we can definitely achieve these targets as ambitious as they are throughout the next few years. Now, so far, we've accumulated over $11 million in revenue. We've received government agency approval in working with several farms, and we have verified our target market as well as other market data. And we've actually been able to deliver over 75,000 pounds of food to different types of consumers in our market segment. We plan on scaling on what it is that we've already done by establishing our packaging house, which we're currently in the process of doing, by establishing stores and pickup points around our target market to increase the convenience and accessibility of our services, and then going off into export and partnerships. We had established a 2-year project, which we indicated we needed $30 million for, but through this grant program, we're looking for $7 million, which you can use to cover the cost of equipment, storage, and decking out that packaging house to facilitate other value-added goods to drive those revenues higher. We also would need some assistance in negotiating and creating agricultural contracts, establishing international trade, as well as positioning our company for an IPO on the local junior market. The projections that we have made based on our experience thus far indicates that we will exceed $60 million in year 3, and we definitely, as we already are, will remain profitable at that time. The impact of that $7 million on our investment on our company, however, will allow us to scale from our current 5 staff members to 11, our square footage from under 100 square feet, that's less than this area or about this area, to over 6 times that, working more than 4 days. We've only operated 4 days for that $11 million over the time period, 4 days a week, increasing that to 6 days a week, and having about 4 to 5 times the income with revenue based on the impact. So thank you for having us, and are there any questions?
Yeah, man. Thank you, Brandon. Let me start off. Can you go back to the traction, please?
Sure, no problem.
The revenue that you highlighted, the 11 million, over what period was that?
That's a 2-year market test that we did.
Oh, two-year market test, 75,000 pounds. What's the stratification of what have you delivered in terms of the produce itself? The types
As
of
in like what
produce?
items?
Yeah. I mean, generally.
Generally,
Or is it broad?
we have delivered tomatoes, lettuce, coconuts, yam, grown provisions, escallion, all sorts of stuff like that. But thousands of pounds each of these varieties, of course.
So I think very simply, guys, it's guys complex.
No problem.
So like walk me through briefly, how that works from the farmer through naturalists to the consumer.
Right. So let me just use this image right here. So first of all, being able to offer that farm support allows us to have the insight as to, first of all, when things are ready. In terms of the produce, there's a variation in terms dependent on the type of produce. So for instance, you have 3-month crops, 9-month crops, etc. But by interacting with the farms like that, we have very clear insights as to what we need to be getting and when and how to transport that from farms to the packaging locations and then to our customers at the end point.
Okay, so what additional value does naturalists add to that process outside of what is done by some other players in the market now?
Right. So firstly, no other player has access to that kind of fine-tuned data in terms of the demographics of who is buying what. If you as a farmer, for instance, right now, were to say, let me go and distribute some of my goods, and you put it in a supermarket, etc., you only know that you're selling X amount. And furthermore, at the end of the month, you might get a call saying that you need to come and pick up some of the produce that has spoiled and has gone to waste. So it really enables us to be able to drive those values by analyzing the data that we get from our sales, as well as being able to get specific information to farms about the market trends, because the environment as well as our taste, where we spend our money, dictates how well our agricultural sector does. If the farms cannot adjust, then what tends to happen is you have importations that come as alternatives to supply or spend.
So you're saying you make the process a bit more efficient by having a feedback loop between the customers and the farmers.
And the farms,
So
correct.
so if there is a reduction in the demand, for example,
Mhm.
of tomatoes,
Yeah.
you won't bring that amount of tomatoes. You will. What instructions will you feed back?
Yeah, so not just won't bring them, but more directly, we would be able to indicate certain trends coming towards a farm before they even actually produce some of those. So for instance, I'll give you an example. We have a seasonal trend nationally where the price on lettuce triples during a certain period. We have points where prices on tomato drop to little to nothing, specifically during droughts. And it's things like this that if you can indicate to producers ahead of time, as well as the unavailability of items to people like cafes, restaurants that have specific menus and styles of production, if you can indicate in advance, you can prevent some of the lost capital and effort that you might have spent and wasted.
So it's like an OPEC type thing where
OPEC?
so it's like how they manage the oil thing. So they can say you reduce the amount of production that you have here because you're oversaturating the market or etc. I will move on to the valuation.
Yeah.
Would you what's the valuation for the company?
Someone I wanted to jump in there. It says, I don't think it's really like OPEC. It's more like, okay, so I guess what I'm trying to understand, because what you said a while ago was very intriguing, right? This whole idea about seasonality, trends that, we as consumers face and that farmers face, right?
Right.
So could you I want to double click on that a little bit. Can you just walk me through how you guys would solve that problem, right? Because what you're describing is a real problem, right? Like every single year, like clockwork, coming closer to hurricane time and drought time, you have a spike in prices for a variety of reasons.
Right.
So how would naturalists solve that particular issue?
Okay, so let me give you the example with let me just choose a crop. Let me give you the example with tomatoes, for instance. You see the change in tomato prices mostly when there's a drought because tomato doesn't need a lot of water. And so with that information, we know our specific target market and we know their trends and their preferences in purchasing. Now, what it is that we would be able to do for those farms is to indicate specifically, all right, well, we know that there is 7,000 pounds, for instance, 7,000 pounds of demand of tomatoes. And so we can indicate to them beforehand that, well, you need to reduce this amount and also to facilitate certain changes. So for instance, if aside from that drought instance, we have the seasonality of pests coming in on those crops, that same drone and those sensors that you have right there, so we offer the value of giving them insight as to how to resolve those problems very quickly. So rather than having to wait on the assistance of a government agent or an agro-extension officer, which we've seen the cries and pleas of these farmers on the TV every single night on news, they're not getting that assistance because there's not enough. So we can facilitate those farms and give them that kind of foresight by scanning, which we have the farm manager that goes to our associated farms and facilitates that kind of resolution of that issue.
All right. So I guess what I'm struggling with, well, first of all, let me just say that, I see that your pitch has improved significantly since your first pitch, right? Because, I can clearly see that you took a lot of the feedback and you have improved it significantly. So definitely, kudos where that's concerned. What I'm really trying to kind of like figure out is, I hate to validate the spurious claims that Simon made earlier, but it so happens that I actually do have experience in this particular industry. I know I hate it. I the whole time I didn't want to say it. I really didn't want to say it, but no, but like, so yes, I did the country runs. I did the farm gate runs, bought produce from farmers, went down to Coronation Market, bought produce there, sold it uptown, right? I went to supermarkets and restaurants and whatever. And one of the things that I learned, through that trade is that the power lies in the buyer, right? So the buyer at the supermarket can decide, every single week, how much they're going to buy and how much they're going to pay, right? Because especially for larger supermarkets, what they do is that they basically make all these people with that have all the producing trucks that just come up to the bay around the back, and then it's literally like a market where they're bidding. Tomato, I can sell it for $300 a pound, and next man right beside him said I can do it for $290, and it's that cutthroat, right? So what I'm trying to understand is that if you really do have the power to be able to predict these, the seasonal issues, then you can get ahead of that by going to the supermarket and saying, okay, we can guarantee that, if essentially what you do is you can sell a forward contract, right? Where you can say to them, we can guarantee that every single week, we will work with the farmers that you can buy 1,000 pounds of tomatoes at $300 for the entire year. You don't have to worry about, the fact that in September or in whenever it's going to jump to $500, right? And then you can sign a contract with them in advance. Now, if you can do that, then obviously that's bankable. You can grow significantly with that. You can finance those contracts, right? The challenge, though, is the farmers tend to be very skeptical about technology, about new people. They want cash up front and all these different things, right? So that's why I'm trying to just drill down and I want you to really kind of like tell me, the average farmer in St. Elizabeth or in Clarendon North that has 2 acres of land that's growing lettuce, and all they want to do is they want to just pay their bills at the end of the week, right? And so they know that every single week, or 3 trucks will come to them, open back vans will come to them and buy 500 pounds each. How can what you are doing help them?
I love to keep it short, I love the question because it gave me a better understanding of, or how you phrase it, it gave me a better understanding of what exactly you're asking. And yes, the long and short of it, to keep it very, very brief, is that by firstly being able to help these farmers resolve a lot of the problems allows us to establish some of those very same contracts that you're referring to, those forward contracts, in us negotiating lower prices from them, and that drives down the cost for us, which we can then pass on some of those savings to those same bidders, those same supermarket bidders, and again facilitate banking that profit margin, because we can again initiate another contract with a supermarket or with a cafe, whatever it is, that in this period of low availability of your tomatoes or whatever, we can supply with X amount at X price consistently.
All right,
Got it?
cool. I mean, yeah,
Did I get it?
kind of,
Kind of.
but we have limited time, so
Got
I mean,
you.
if anything, we can talk after.
No problems.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin.
Sorry, I have to go back to the finance. That's just why.
No problem.
I noticed you did mention you make 11 million over the last 2 years. You plan to make 15 million this year?
Right. So what we're saying, yes, essentially, the funding will allow us, that's actually 18, but yes, the funding will allow us to acquire some of the capital resources that we need to manipulate that.
So based on that 18 million, what is your projected margin, gross and net?
Gross is about 40 to 45%. Net is about 30% of that.
30%.
Yep.
Okay. So that means you're doing, how do you manage your costs currently?
Our costs and operations currently are, of course, higher than they need to be because of how we are running. We're a startup. It's bootstrapped. Quite frankly, we actually started this with only 300,000 Jamaican dollars. That was a loan from family and friends that we were able to pay them back within the stipulated time, which was less than a year. Matter of fact, I think it was about 4 or 5 months, and we paid them back the investment, and then we scaled out to that. But the long and short of it is the operation is a lot more expensive now because of the scale that we're running at. We still only have like 5 people. I myself on some days actually am there packing the goods and sending it off to customers. So the scale at which we operate reduces our profit margin there.
So you're saying with you scaling up to 11 persons with more than 600 square feet a day, and I'm guessing you want to add additional trucks if possible.
Of course.
You will remain at 30%?
No, our profit margin increases slightly as we accumulate those capital aspects. So, for instance, give you an example, the equipment that we use or the rent that we pay on certain things. Once we have that ability to negotiate those same contracts that we were talking about, our profit margin increases because we're facilitating some additional value, and all profit comes from risk. So we are taking some of the risk from these firms and from these end consumers, and so there's more profit for us.
And is it that all that profit is cash, or is there a certain amount of receivables on?
No, there's cash and receivables, but our receivables don't generally pass more than 2 months because cash is king, specifically in the agricultural industry.
I like that they said that. Just the only other question I have though is how do you manage the control of quality of the products from farm to table?
Right. So again, the predictability allows for us to know when we're going to have a little bit more work on our hands than others. That's the first thing. Second of all, the past 2 years has been a very intriguing one. Quite frankly, we did a whole pivot of the business. We were never interested in selling vegetables. We're physicists with backgrounds in design and creation, robotics, stuff like that, and we built the platform to actually assist in solving some of the farm support problems. We realized, however, that for the company to actually profit and to have the impact nationally that we want it to, we would have had to pivot to actually us supplying and selling those vegetables so that we can manage the quality, manage the customer experience, manage things to ensure that we're maximizing the profit.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Krista, you have a question?
Just because I did not have the experience that Mark had, I was not a farmer. Can you explain that? I understand that one aspect of one of your customers or one of your clients is going to be the farmers. The other aspect is the end consumer. Can you give me examples of who those are? So we've said supermarkets so far, we've said restaurants so far. Is that pretty much it?
No, actually, okay. So first of all, we over the 2-year period, we found that our target market is really wholesale consumers, which consists of small businesses. So not at the scale of supermarkets yet. Small businesses, personal shoppers, which are families specifically, and bargain hunters, people who you might say in those long lines at Price Mart. Yeah.
And what is for the end consumer, what is your customer acquisition strategy currently? So you're about to increase capacity. Like, should you win the grant, you're going to increase capacity. How do you go about, or what's your strategy for increasing your end consumer base?
So we actually have been running that same 2-year pilot project under scale, severely under scale, because we actually can't meet the demand that we have. And so we actually have a waiting list of people. And furthermore, for that $11 million that we generated, we've never marketed to anyone. We've actually started this from the pilot, and through word of mouth, we've acquired all the customers that we have, including the waiting list.
Okay, so how do people currently find you? Like, what is the process for the end consumer? Like, how do they find you? Is it something that they sign up with? Like, what happens?
With the investment that we're looking for here, we have established a marketing budget. So our acquisition strategy moving forward will include, of course, targeted campaigns, but specifically for businesses, just direct calls. We're members of JMEA, and by winning a grant from this, we'll have a membership with PSOJ as well. So we have a long directory of customers that we can directly call, but we also have accessibility through a website that you can come and place your orders.
Okay, that's great.
No problem.
That was my final question. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
One more question came to me. What is your plan B? As in an event, so we have a hurricane. There's no supply. What do you do then? Is the business closed, or do you have supplier contracts with someone overseas?
That's a great question. Okay, so our goal was never to import food, right? And with a hurricane, the supply demand changes severely. So we will know that, of course, the supply for things is going to be lower. The demand won't necessarily change. Matter of fact, it might actually increase. And because we have access to global weather data, we can also know that a hurricane is coming. Whatever preparations that need to be made in terms of what is already available on the island, and or access to storage would store and facilitate the distribution through there.
All right, thank you.
You're
All
most
right.
welcome.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Really appreciate it. So, so we'll go immediately into Get It Sent. Get It Sent is the next. So you can come around here. All right, we switch the presentation. All right, so you guys can just I'll give you 30 seconds, just introduce yourselves first, sorry, the name of the business, and then we can start. You can tell when to start.
All right, so good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm Tony Ann, I'm CMO of Sense, and this is Maurice Henry. He is CEO.
All right.
All right, so last pitch deck, we painted you a picture, right? So this week we're actually delivering a package. The package is Get It Sent. What is Get It Sent? We're a local delivery company, and essentially we get packages delivered anywhere soon. Right now, we focus on Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Catherine. And as it relates to our customers, most of our customers are small to medium-sized business owners, some who sell online, and others who have storefronts. We do also have larger senders who use our services on a more seasonal basis. So, for example, today we actually concluded an agreement to deliver costumes for someone this Easter. So, we're pretty flexible. And we have a smaller segment of customers who are actually not businesses, but just individuals who want to move a package from point A to point B. What we do, the important thing to grasp here is that what we do for all of our senders is we connect them. We make the link between them, their products, and their customers. Products-wise, the products I'm referring to, packages that we deliver, are typically small to medium size, and we transport majority of them with bikes, but we do also have a car or cars that we use to transport products, but that's really where our headspace is, to small to medium sized packages.
Thank you, Tony. All right, good night again. So in terms of where we are as a company, we've been open for about 7 months. We've done about a little over 15 million in revenue. We move a little bit over 200 packages daily. The demand that exists is crazy. We're looking at probably two small business owners in here that uses our services. And we don't have hands to fill the demand. So this competition, the grant funding, will really put us to the next level, will help us to grow our fleet to meet the demand that exists. We're in talks to merge with another company that's older than us that will probably add 50% more packages daily to our volume. We have a large part supplier that's just waiting on us to have a sit down to really iron out how we can start delivering their packages. But we're really hindered by the lack of capital to really get us to the next level. So this competition actually came at a perfect time because it will kind of bridge a gap to help us get to the next level. Tony and I, as founders, I myself personally have 18 years experience in business. Informally, I've been a businessman from birth because I grew up in that type of household. My father really instilled certain values in me when it comes to business, and that has kind of guided me on how I do business. I think this company is really the company that we've been looking for, the business that we've been looking for to kind of put our ideas out there on what we can do. So we saw a need. We decided that our combined expertise would really fill this need. So our business model, delivering packages, we deliver between Kingston and St. Catherine. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought. Where was I? Go ahead.
Go on, man.
All right, so yeah, you do. Business model. All right, so how we make money currently is through our delivery rates. You guys have mentioned before that we should be considering increased rates, which we actually have started a campaign. We've been communicating with our senders, and effective Monday coming, we'll actually have increased rates moving forward, so revenue. I think that's our time, and thank you.
Sorry about that. I mentioned my father, and it kind of just it threw me. I'm really, 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 really sorry. I mentioned it, man. It just kind of, yeah. I'm sorry. So you can go ahead with your question.
That's fine,
I'll be
man.
able
That's
to
how we
answer
have
them.
questions to kind of, pull up more
Sorry about
information
that. Sorry about
out of
that.
you. I want to talk about this merger. First of all, yeah, so clear. That's one of the major things I picked up. So the merger is a material event for you as a company. So I have a few questions around it. Is the next company bigger than you? You said there will be a 50% increase in daily volume.
They've been around longer. I think what we've been able to achieve in the 7 months that we've been open, without diminishing what they've done, we're moving more packages in 7 months than they did in 3 years. But strategically, they're in a geographical area that will give us more access to that area. So their business was built in St. Catherine, our business was built in Kingston. So majority of their customers are from that geographical area. So it will help us to kind of grow a footprint there without having to actually grow it there. So by acquiring that company, it will help us to acquire that base of customers from that side of the island.
Okay. How many investors does Cent? Is it Get It Cent or Cent?
It's Get It Cent Limited, but Cent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many investors does Cent have currently?
None. We kind of raise money from family and friends.
Owners, that is. Owners. How
It's
many
just
people
both
own
of
it?
us.
Just the two of you. And the
Yes.
other business, how many owners do they have?
The other business?
Yeah.
One.
Okay, so it's a single owner.
Yes.
Okay, so the relationship with that owner is good. So
Yeah,
outside of business, the three of you have a good
With the company that we're looking to acquire?
yes, the relationship with the owner. The company is this is an acquisition or a merger.
It's an acquisition.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Cent is buying.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah,
not a
yeah,
merger.
yeah, yeah.
So you're acquiring them and bringing their
assets,
operations
really. Yeah.
into yours. So you're going to rebrand them Cent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Understood.
Yes.
Get to know.
Yes.
That's why we ask questions. All right. So you said 7 months, 15 million. Are you profitable as yet? We spoke a couple. What seems like probably about 2 months, and you said Simon soon, within X amount of months.
Well, this month we actually turned a small profit. The previous months, the first few months, we lost money because we had to set up some foundations for the business that the business couldn't manage through revenue. We gradually grew it to a break even, and this month today's the last of the month, and the last glance at the numbers kind of showed that we made some money this month.
Oh, so excellent. That's a good milestone for any founder. Yeah, that's a good milestone for any founder. I see Jason say you have a question for them.
It's not a question, it's a statement. So you need to make more money, just sign me up as a client tomorrow. So that's starting on a very positive footing.
All right, looking forward to that.
Big up Optimum Trading. Big up Optimum Trading. All right, so you have the dental industry covered for 3 parishes now, right? And these guys are island-wide, by the way. So lots of opportunity there. So yeah, I was at profitability. So it's good that you are there. One of the challenges that I don't even have to be in the industry. It's clear, is actually managing the quality of the riders that you get. How you manage that? Come see man a wheelie pizza, and by the time you come, all of the cheese over here so, and the pizza over here so. How do you manage that? I know you say you have mostly riders.
So the model that we use to start is really, we haven't contracted anybody. We've had them. We've purchased our own bikes, so that kind of gives us the control. We've had, and then we have our rigorous training, exercise that they go through. So
How that training they look? Is it that make sure some bike reach back? Yes.
Maybe that's the final point after we've taken them. So we give them customer service training. That's part of Tony's forte. We give them customer service training. Then we have an app that we use that we train them in, and we script out how they should handle our customers.
As well as, I'll add to that, So one of the things that's important, we're connecting people with packages, but internally we have to connect with our customers, which are our riders. So we try, and successfully so far, to get them to really understand what we're trying to achieve. We tell them they're not bearers. If you ask any of our riders, you look at any of our messages, we call our guys deliver riders. The entire culture that we create, we explain to them that this is what you're coming into, this is what is expected of you, this is how you'll represent our brand. It's not just picking up and dropping off a package. We're a delivery partner, and you have to bring that to light. So that's what we do, that's what we communicate, and they get it. So we're good.
All right. I must say, congrats. Not every startup makes a profit within their first year, so you should take that as something very big and something to be proud of.
Well, it was really necessary because we're running out of cash.
Well, sometimes hard situations forces you to make those profits, right? I guess my question, or only question Simon asked most of them, it goes back to the acquisition. Like, if you do acquire that company, how does that improve revenue line? Is that a 50-80% jump?
All right. So the company that we're acquiring charges more than us. So we've decided to raise our rates. We are already dirt cheap, so raising it is still dirt cheap. But it would, as I said, increase our package volume by about 50%.
Okay.
Right. So we're moving a little bit over 200 now. So we're looking to go to about 253 to 300. Thereabout. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
In your last pitch, you had mentioned pretty much wanting to go island wide in a short time span. You're doing an acquisition now, which would give you a stronger foothold in another parish. Is it still the plan to basically go island wide in a short time span? And if so, what is the time span?
Well, that depends on the capital.
Okay.
It will take some money to establish what we need to establish, the foundations to go island wide. We've already laid out the plans. We know what we need to do, but we need the capital to kind of push it. So the answer to that question still remains. It depends on how much money we can raise and when we can raise that money.
And is there more in the short term? So can I get the timeline for when you'd be actually looking? So should you have the capital to do it, like when are you looking to kind of make that island-wide push?
If we have the capital within 6 months, it should give us enough time to establish what we need to establish to be able to service the island.
And what would it take to kind of do that? So you currently have to hire those riders, so you're not contracting anyone. Like, you'd actually have to grow your fleet. You'd have to do the hiring. You'd have to do the training. You can do all that in 6 months.
The thing is with Jamaica, because of how Jamaica is set up, when you got island wide, you wouldn't be necessarily doing all the last mile deliveries. If anybody knows rural Jamaica, you know that some of it is a little bit difficult. So the last mile deliveries is easier in Kingston. But then we'll have some tricks up our sleeve to kind of mitigate when we go island wide. We can't disclose everything.
So talk to me about the business development aspect of things. So you would essentially have to develop relationships in a lot of these places. So what would be the strategy for that? That you can share.
It would depend a lot on third parties that we've already begun to engage. We've already had initial discussions, but we can't have anything concrete until we know that we can set dates and timelines to actually go to them with agreements and stuff like that. But we've had discussions, we have ideas of who will engage, and we've engaged some of them already.
Okay. And what is the total addressable market when it comes to just the markets that you're currently serving? Have you pretty much already tapped them out and it makes sense now to kind of go island wide? Like, where are you now with where you're already serving?
No, we haven't tapped out. I don't think we've scratched the surface of Kingston. There are a lot of companies like ours that's trying to solve the problem that we're solving. I think that the market is in its genesis in terms of e-commerce, because now Instagram and WhatsApp kind of allows a lot of people to sell stuff formally and informally. So somebody said it, I had a conversation, they said every day somebody starts a business on Instagram. So the need is there. So the data isn't there to kind of tell you the total addressable market in the niche that we've identified. But I think that we're like 1%, 2%, 3% the total addressable market.
No problem. And for your current customer base, what percentage of those would be businesses that you have an ongoing relationship with? So you can pretty much put like bank on them using you at a monthly basis. And then what percentage would be brand new, like one-off deliveries ever so often?
95% is repeat, about 5% is one-off. And then as Tony mentioned, you have the seasonal clients. And we've delivered for ATL over Christmas. As Tony mentioned, we're doing a band for Carnival. So you have those one-off customers that, well, they're not one-off, but they're seasonal. You'll have people, individuals reach out to that they need to move something from A to B, point A to B. And then, as I said, 95% are businesses who you know that over time you can look at the data and identify how many packages you can expect from this business weekly, and you can basically plan to kind of manage that. You can use that data also to kind of grow the business, because you know that with this type of customer, then you can expect X amount of packages. Then you know that you need to add 2 more riders to be able to handle daily. Yeah.
All right, that's my last question. Thank you.
You're
All right. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. All right. All right, great job, guys. Don't worry about that, Maurice. Everything is good. So I will say that I'm very happy to hear that you guys are raising your prices, right? You know, that's kind of like my thing. And, you know, it's crazy how, like one of the best ways to address a lack of profitability is, guess what? Raising prices, right? So I'm very, very happy to hear that. You don't want to go too high because obviously you don't want prices over to the market. But as I've said before, I think you guys were, severely underpricing. So that's very encouraging. I mean, to be honest, the truth is that, I mean, I get it. I understand the business. I did not have a business. I did not do nothing. I was gonna say, I was gonna say that if you're looking for, so Simon asked about training your riders and whatever. So customer service is definitely one thing, but you could also look into training them just from a riding perspective in terms of on the road. I have a brother-in-law that does train bikers. I know. So, which is I'm not the brother-in-law, but I just say that So that's kind of where where my mind went.
Is your brother-in-law Tariq?
No, well, he works with Tariq.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned that because literally where Headspace is, we have that in the pipeline where once we have the foundation set and we have people that can actually carry out the responsibilities of engaging a back to basics training,
right,
to kind of train the new riders.
Right. So my brother-in-law is Learn to Ride JA, which does stuff with back to basics.
Okay,
so that's what I was thinking, is that when you onboard somebody, you give them the customer service training, you give them the bike training, and then you take it from there. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I said, like, I don't really have Simon and these other guys asked all the questions. So, good job.
Yeah, I have one last one. So you've decided to grow into St. Catherine inorganically by purchasing a company that's already there. Is that the general strategy that you're looking to go into other parishes, or do you plan to go in there organically? Which one do you think is easier based on your industry?
I think organically, I think this opportunity was, I wouldn't say a one-off, because we wouldn't rule it out in the future, but it was something that just popped up at the right moment, and we decided we knew the company. So having discussed everything with the founder of the company, without them disclosing, Tony was able to look at me and say, you know what, it's this company. And when it was revealed, it was actually that company. So it's a company that we knew, and it is one of the leading companies in St. Catherine. So for us to kind of pursue that strategy, a company in another parish would have to reflect what that company reflects. Outside of that, I think that the market is still young enough for us to organically tackle it.
One of the problems with owning the bikes is that you kind of take on the liability of that ownership, and with the rider being an employee themselves, they take on that liability as well. So I can see why training them to actually ride a bike is important and training them with customer service and of course road code, etc., etc. What so that's clearly one way that you've implemented to mitigate the risk around direct ownership there. What is probably one other thing? What are other things that you've put in place to mitigate that potential liability risk around that?
Insurance.
Oh, so each of them are insured.
Yes. So insurance, and I mean, we kind of bank on the training because how often you see, for example, a Hawkeye rider in an accident. So we're hoping to establish our riders, those calibers of riders, where we kind of minimize the accidents. You can't get around it; it will happen, but we're kind of doing everything to ensure that it's kept at a manageable level.
Okay, so you should never see a scent rider wheeling with a pizza pan. So calling right away.
Right away.
Right away. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
One last thing I also wanted to say is that I think that you guys are on a great path. I would say don't try and expand too quickly. Focus on. You're absolutely right. Like the Kingston, the KSA, and even St. Catherine is so large, and the market is so young that you have a lot of room to grow. Right. So just focus on nailing that market first. Grow organically. You price your service properly. Get your cash and reinvest in. Another thing you can look into is leasing bikes, financing bikes, so that you don't take on capex immediately up front, and so yeah. So in other words, I think you can do it like that. You just do it little by little. But I think you'll be great.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
All right,
Thanks.
Thanks everyone for having us.
All right. So the next presenter that we have. So how everybody feeling? We liking the pitches so far? Loving the pitches so far? All right. So we have two more presenters to come. The next one is K-Don Music. So they're already here. And I'll just ask them to come on. Let me know if you need any help. All right, this look nice. All right, so I'll give you 30 seconds to just introduce yourself, my company, and the team that you've brought.
Definitely. Good evening, everyone. Come on, man. Good evening.
Evening,
Yeah,
man, evening.
Yeah, my name is Kamoy Gordon. I'm 24 years old, and I am the owner and founder of K-Don Music Enterprise Limited. Here with me, we have Miss Gabrielle Clark, Mr. John Mark Maitland, and Shamar Richards is here. I'm grateful for this opportunity to be here. I'm grateful for this initiative, a great one by Stocks on the Rock and Paul Simpson. This will definitely go a far way in supporting young entrepreneurs thrive as we thrive, and we build something great. Definitely grateful to be here. Thank you, judges. Blessings. Again, my name is Kamoy Gordon, and just a little bit of background. Growing up, we all had a great love and a passion for music, but in schools, in school and throughout our school journey, it didn't seem like that there was enough in terms of training, that accessibility, and going through school, high school, I went to Kingston College, and after Kingston College, I went to the Edna Manley College, and I decided that I would follow my art, I would follow my passion, which was in music, or is in music. I went to the Edna Manley College and I did my bachelor in music education, of course. a lot of persons know me here as a performer, but my background is in music education. And while there in my final year, I thought of a way in which I could make a tremendous impact. You know, I could possibly go into high school and teach a few students in a class, but I wanted a way in which I could really impact students right across Jamaica, not only in Jamaica, but across the Caribbean. So, of course, we talk about the problem and the issues in schools, the lack of resources, the lack of instrument, the lack of teachers who actually know how to deliver on certain instruments and a wide range of instrumental training. And in my final year, I registered a company, Kadon Music Enterprise Limited. And what do? We actually offer musical classes, training for 11 instruments. Our classes can be done face-to-face as well as online. We also have a rental aspect to our business where we rent musical instruments. And studio space for teachers who want to come and teach their students at our location. We also have a group lessons. That is something that we are working on. We currently have a partnership with the Woolmer's Preparatory School where we go there each week and we work with a group of students there. We want to build out on that number with a number for the schools, prep schools, primary schools, high schools as well. Our market, we service individuals who want to learn music as an hobby. We service individuals who want to upskill themselves, who want to learn an additional instrument or learn an instrument, a new skill, as well as individuals who want to be certified. So they're doing exams like the Associated Board of the Royal School of Music or the CSET Music exams. In terms of the market, we have two other competitors, but we are definitely smashing it and we're killing it as it relates to our service quality, as it relates to the quality of our instructions, the quality of our instructors. Our pricing power is very strong. We have high competitiveness, and in terms of pricing, we are on the lower side, which is good. We offer a wider range of services as well when compared to our competitors. Our team is made up of myself, as well as a few of the team members are here. It's a team of 12, and I'm so grateful for all of them. We are all musicians, music educators, producers in the industry. We are performers. We know the industry. And, I'm definitely grateful for them and the passion that they have given to this team and the brand. Today, we are here seeking a total of $4,270,000. We intend to use that amount to purchase equipment, to develop our website for content creation, marketing, and promotion, to provide the working capital, and to build out our team. We want to scale the business, and we believe that the best way to do this is to do it online. We want our classes and our products, our courses, our content to be available digitally so that we can actually provide this content to schools as well as individuals. So we're talking about B2C as well as B2B. So anywhere in the island, anywhere you are, you're in Montego Bay, you're in May Pen, and you want some music classes, you're able to access our platform and do our music classes. Currently, we are in need of support in the following areas: accounting support, marketing and promotion, business advisory, as well as business mentorship as we continue to grow. Let's talk about the numbers. In our first year, we did approximately $5.8 million in revenues. Of course, that was a build-out period. We had a loss at around $350,000. In our second year, we did $6.85 million with a profit of $945,000. Massive. Our strategic outlook. So we are very bullish on music education, not only music education, but entertainment as a whole. As you can see, we're all performers. And I want to build out that platform. Of course, we want to engage other musicians, other educators, so that they can also create content for us. We want to engage engineers in the industry who might just do a course in mixing, mastering. We have some samples that we can sell on our platforms. Musicians who are also arrangers and composers. There's an issue in Jamaica. We have music, we have a great culture, we have a great heritage, but a lot of our music, it's not written. So that's the issue. We want to get our music recorded. We are projecting for this year, for the next 18 months with the investment, we're projecting 23 million. And for financial year 2025, we're projecting 41,500,000. Please join me in making musical lessons and training accessible for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark. I'll allow you to go first.
Boy, no, it has been a while. It has been a while. What is it, Krista? What you over here saying? I mean, I paid the violin, for a little bit. So, well done. One of the things that I wanted to hear more about is the exporting of music lessons, right? Specific I think it was maybe like in the last speech we spoke about, you know, just the market of. I mean, so we know, everybody loves reggae music, right?
Absolutely.
But who, where does the market exist for teaching people how to play reggae music? As you said, a lot of our traditions and stuff, aren't really written down, right? So just the idea of taking our historic, traditions and just making them into courses and selling them to foreigners, tourists,
Definitely.
for example, right? Can you speak more about that?
All right. So Jamaica has a rich culture as it relates to music. We produce a lot of superstars, Bob Marley, Coffee. I mean, and the list goes on. Musicians like Desi Jones, Dean Fraser. And the reality is, we want to partner with some of these musicians. We want to make this, we want to package it. We want to sell and distribute our culture. Talking about our folk culture, talking about our reggae music, our dancehall, and not just Jamaican music, but Caribbean music. That inclusiveness. The reality is there's a huge market. Talking about in Europe, can talk about the amount of festivals that are kept in Europe each year, in the US as well. I mean, the reality is our culture attracts millions of tourists each year, and Jamaicans on a whole, we need to benefit more from our culture. This is a way to package it and distribute it.
Well, I guess what I was trying to get a sense of, because you projected that for the next 18 months, you're going to do 23 million, right? Like, what, if you can kind of like walk me through that, like, what do you expect that 23 million to look like? Like, what will come from what in terms of physical classes here on the ground versus export? Or maybe, when I say export, I mean like the digital reggae classes that I'm thinking about that would be sold, to the US. Or are you thinking that would be in the latter, so that's fiscal year 2025?
All right. So definitely it's content that we are creating. So I'm projecting that will take around 3 to 4 months there to really create and develop the content. So it's really gonna be around in the latter 12 months that we're expecting to be generating revenues from those courses. And the reality is I'm projecting around 9 million during that period in the first year. And then going forward, 2025, the bulk of that will be scaling towards, of course, focusing on delivering digitally.
Got it. Okay, so just to be clear,
Correct.
what you guys are thinking, and I know that plans will change, right? Subject to market conditions. But what you're thinking is that out of the 23 million in the next 18 months, you're thinking about 9 million that will be what, the export product alone, or is this just digital classes just generally?
Just digital classes, I know.
Okay, I get you. Okay, so and out of that 9 million, how much do you think would be from the export? I mean, if you were to, I know.
I'd probably say around 6 million.
Okay. Oh, so you think it would be the majority of it?
I believe so.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any other questions.
Thank you, Kevin.
I guess one question I do have, which I guess will lead me to asking others. Congrats on the pitch day. It's wonderful. I really appreciate the first part. It seems like you have a good understanding of where your market is, who your competitors are. You mentioned that the quality of your courses is better than the competitors, the quality of the teachers are better. But why price it below your competitors?
All right. So initially when I started the company, I personally grew up very poor background. Wasn't rich. I played the violin, yes, but people might think that, yeah, boy, I grew up at Beverly Hills and Jackson and them thing that, but the reality is that's not the case. I actually started receiving training through a program called the National Youth Orchestra of Jamaica. And that was while I was at Kingston College, a non-profit organization. And I benefited from free lessons through that program. That program enabled me and provided me with the opportunity to go to the Edna Malley College. And for me, it's that there's a social element to it, while there's business, and of course, you have to focus on keeping on profitability. But there's also a social element as relates to making music lessons affordable and accessible. No longer do you have to be rich to play the cello or play the flute. We want to kind of level some of those barriers.
While I do understand that, and it's a very noble endeavor, how do you grow the business in the future on that model alone? Because at the end of the day, you want to remain profitable.
That doesn't stop the business from generating revenues or being profitable. The reality is, we, as much as I spoke just now on the social element, we had to raise costs last year, and we did. You understand? So it's, at the end of the day, it's business, and I'm focused on business, and I'm focused on growing this business and providing opportunities for my teachers, my staff, as well as other upcoming musicians.
Just on the pricing aspect of things, first, really great pitch.
Thank you.
I also really appreciate the social aspect of things. My question would be, were the prices set based on market research, based on what your customers could, like, what's the max your customers could afford, or did you kind of set it based on what your competitors were doing and what you kind of said, okay, it makes sense to kind of go at this price versus what our competitors can do? Like, how did you go about testing the price to make sure that it achieves your mission of just kind of being affordable for customers, but this meets the max customers are also willing to pay, and it's for them to still feel comfortable for them?
All right, so definitely I would have looked at what is available, what is out there on the market in terms of what other companies are charging, what private instructors are charging, and definitely that was included as well. We're just around there. I mean, as it relates to we're not too far off. And the reality is, we're not really far off. We're just there with our competitors for the most part. We're just there.
Okay, in terms of the accessibility piece, so you would have mentioned that you got your training through a nonprofit organization. I'm going back to the pricing. Have you made any headway on potentially partnering with maybe government organizations or private companies that would be willing to kind of partner with you and have these lessons be provided for free or at a reduced cost to your target audience, so you can increase those prices, so you're not really going based on what your customer can afford, but what these organizations can afford to subsidize?
All right, so great question. Of course, I've been thinking about this. There are a lot of opportunities for grant funding, and we have actually looked at partnerships with foundations, foundations around Trenchtown, certain inner city communities, as well as foundations surrounding schools. And that is a big part of it in terms of, that's something that we are actively looking at. And definitely with the support of all you great judges, we'll definitely get there.
So my final question, and this would just be because I have no idea how this aspect of things works. How about the Ministry of Education? Any budgets that they would have towards supplying music education within schools, or private companies who may have a particular interest in that? Have we had any conversations with them? I can see how going through like nonprofit organizations and partnering with them may be a bit difficult, but have we gone through maybe the ministry itself that may have more of a budget for it, as well as private companies?
All right, I definitely have a few contacts. I am definitely working on building out the digital aspect first before I entertain or engage them in that way. Don't want to call Nigel without solid, information.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Why 18 months instead of 12 months, the projections?
All right, so it's one of the main reason is because it's gonna take the equipment that we're sourcing. It's gonna be cameras, lighting, software, and all of that. definitely it's going to take some time to get those things in the island. Of course, some will get locally. And apart from that, it's going to take time to build out the content that we need.
Okay, so you kind of
Yes.
push that into the next
Correct.
year. So financial year 2025 is March ended 2025?
I am really projecting to the end of the year.
Or end of,
Yeah, the end of the year.
All right. So we can say here, who does your accounting now, or what program do you use?
All right, so I use a software called Zoho Books. I also have a consultant that I'm working with. She assists me with all the SO1 filings, the statutory filings each month, all of that. So she does all of that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. As it pertains to investors, are you entertaining investors at the moment? So this is for grad funding, but on the investor side.
All right, thank you for that question. I am willing to have conversations around possibly a convertible note.
Okay. So you jump to a convertible note. You say you don't want them coming directly first.
I think definitely it's the business is still in a very early stage. Yeah, we know we can definitely talk about a convertible note with a nice cap. I mean, I'm willing to have the conversation.
Come on. The man come ready. I don't know. The question just pop up and I thought to ask. Yeah, so for everybody here, the convertible note is really basically he's saying I don't want you to buy my shares directly as yet. Give me some debt with an option to convert, and I'll limit you to the amount of
Give you a nice discount.
Gains that you can make from my company. Okay, so understood. I mean, that's why we have the equity at the table. I think the 18-month thing. Kevin asked my other question. So that was the major thing.
Come on, one thing that I wanted to say was I just wanted to echo what Krista said earlier in terms of the pricing, right? Like, don't feel like there is a direct correlation between the social good that you can do and the price that you charge. Sometimes it's like an inverse relationship, actually, right? Where, in other words, what I'm trying to do is absolve you of the guilt of feeling that you're pricing out the people that you want to help the most out of your company, right? And the service offering. What you can do is that you can increase the price, which I would recommend. I mean, I've been doing it for everybody else, so I'm going to be consistent. So I think you should increase the price. However, what you can do is start working with seeking sponsorships from companies to provide scholarships at the increased price, right? So imagine whatever you're selling it at now, you raise it by 30 or 40%. Then you go to a large company that wants to sponsor 50 kids, for argument's sake.
Definitely.
Then what you've done is that you've sold 50 contracts at the increased price, and those kids have gotten it for free, right? So you've done the social good, and you have increased your revenue per customer, and you have gotten a contract. You've gotten a whole heap of 50. I'm using 50 as a hypothetical. You don't even have to have 50 students in advance, because what you have to remember is a lot of these companies, to them, it doesn't make sense writing a check for anything that's too small. Like the transaction costs and everything of dealing with that is not worth it. So when you go to them and say, listen, I'm going to sell you 5 million. Okay, yes, you're doing $6 million a year in revenue. You can sell one customer or one big company a $6 million contract. One contract can double your revenue. And then you just allocate that to 200 customers, 200 users, 100 users, however you want to do it, right? But so the point I'm making is that you can use the free market to subsidize the social good that you're trying to do, right? And that way, you're building a sustainable business that investors will like.
Definitely.
Let me plug that equity has a $1 billion balance sheet. So you already know who to talk to there. Thanks. That's.
So I wanted to go into the digital aspect because it's something that I can say when you talk about it, you have a big smile on your face. So it's something you're really excited about. So I would have between 2017, I think, and 20 and today, my bread and butter really is building and launching and selling digital products, like creating it, having that IP, and then selling it. So I wanted to ask, you're gonna put significant, I would say, you're going to make an investment in actually building out the courses. So you're going to buy the equipment and then you're going to build the courses and then instead you're going to sell the courses. Tell me about the aspect of selling the courses itself. What's the strategy for that? Are we going to create a platform? How do people kind of go about buying the courses that you then create?
All right, so there are already platforms out there that we can leverage in terms of the technology. So what I'll be building out is really a landing page where persons can come, they can view what they want, and of course we can have all these courses on using the platform that we choose. So persons will be able to go to that page and access the content there.
Okay. And then in terms of building out the courses, so what we found is that sometimes each course that you have requires its own strategy. It will have its own target market. So people aren't necessarily just interested in getting any music lessons, that they're interested in very specific things. So have you tested out, or can you tell me which courses do you think will be the most in demand? Or do you have a strategy for basically starting with specific courses, launching, selling those, scaling those, and then building out the rest? Or is it kind of just we're going to put it all out at the same time and then test from there? Like, do you have any insight into which courses would be the most popular? Like, which ones would be your biggest revenue generators versus which ones, I guess, kind of are a little bit more passive?
All right. So in terms of the on the instrument side, definitely we'll be starting with piano, then transition to violin, voice after, drum set after, guitar after. Those are 5 essential, basically the foundation of our music. Definitely we want to do a course in mixing, mastering, production, and I believe that's where we'll be going, starting off in terms of courses in that order.
Okay, awesome. And this is just more of a suggestion because I do like that. So thank you for that. Would be to start building your waiting list from now. So as you know that this product is coming, start the marketing from now. Start to gain that audience, that interested audience. So by the time that you do have it built out, once it's built out, you're going straight to market as opposed to built out. Now we have to go and sell it. So there are different ways that you can, at this moment, before it's even ready, you know it's coming. So start to build that audience. Consider launching an MVP where it's not as fancy, of course, because the equipment isn't here yet, but you're finding out who is interested, where are they from, potentially what are they willing to pay for the courses, because you do have to test out the pricing. What are they willing to pay for? Are they willing to pay for more lessons, or is it just kind of that one lesson? That might help you kind of decide how you go about your pricing strategy if you kind of bundle some lessons. There's a lot that you can learn by launching the MVP first, as opposed to putting all of your time and resources into building and believing that they're going to come afterwards. So that's my only suggestion, is just you have the audience, you have the expertise, you have the team, and I believe that an MVP could do a lot for you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Kamoy. I really appreciate it. We have one pitch left. Everybody go to ready for the last pitch. How was that one? We good? All right. So I just want to say to all the contestants, for all your marketing support and SEO, your search engine optimization. If you want to put in music, delivery, delivery of farm goods into, and they want anybody put that in and you want to come up first, you link the guys at One Great Studio. They know to get you on top of even the biggest players, right? And of course, so come on, I mentioned something about production, and the first thing came to mind was Visual Tech. You know, the guys that have really been helping us out with our own production here. So come on, may I plug Mark and his very experienced team over there. I know you're somewhat familiar with them already and their work. All right, so moving on to our final pitch. No pressure. No pressure. This is the final pitch of tonight. It's Me Natural. All right, thank you. So
Good night, everyone.
Night. So I'll just give you 30 seconds to introduce yourself and the name of your business, and then you can tell me when to start. I mean, you know to do this already.
Okay. I'll just go right into it.
Okay, fine. Cool.
But before, I kind of have a problem. Can this go taller? Should be good enough.
Just so everybody knows I'm 6 foot. I know nobody ever asked.
Hi, I'm Malia from Minatural. Could you please take a moment to look to your left? Everybody, can you please look to your left? And now, can you please look to your right? Yes, and now stop and think to yourself, how many persons have a cell phone? Basically everyone. Now, once you use cell phone, you're exposing yourself to hair loss, as research has found that the use of cell phone and cellular radiation leads to hair loss. Also, Black people has the highest prevalence of hair loss. In 2018, I faced hair loss because I enjoy experimenting with my hair. And this took a toll on my self confidence. And it also inspired me to create hair care products to sustain my hair. And so we present to you our solution. At Minatural, we have a system of hair care products and tools designed to help with hair regeneration from a cellular level while sustaining the existing hair. This is a compilation of shampoo, conditioner, serum, derma roller, and scalp brush. We also help you to track your hair growth journey on our website, where you can also redeem points. When you sign up on our website, we collect your biometric data as well as information about your hair and your preferences. In one of our case study, our female user, 56 years old, started experiencing hair loss during menopause. And so she started experiencing thinning in the top of her hair. This also caused her to be quite stressed, and she wasn't as confident as before. After using Menatral's hair growth system for 3 months, she experienced accelerated hair growth, and she's asking for more. We help our customers to restore their hair and the self-confidence that comes with it. And so they are begging for more. And so at Minatural, our vision is to be Earth's most loved beauty ecosystem, offering our customers with premium quality products and services. Our core team consists of myself, an organic hair care formulator, our CFO, Shaquille, he is our co-founder, and Alanda, our technical project manager. Since 2019, we have been successful in gaining awards. We've also gained traction in the market, and we are well aware of our strengths, weaknesses, the opportunities, and threats that await us. We have we've trademarked with JIPO, and we are working on other certifications as we speak. We do not just offer a hair care product. We help our customers to track their hair growth journey. We help you to customize your fragrance, as well as we offer an incentive for bottle return for reuse and redeemable points when you do this, so you get a discount on your next purchase. The serviceable addressable market in Jamaica is $160 million. We are targeting men and women between the ages of 35 to 65 years old who are passionate about their health. They are middle to high income earners, and they are facing hair loss.
We have several packages available. 3-month supply is at a one-time purchase, as well as a 1-year subscription. And we're also looking to have in distributors such as salon owners. Here we've illustrated our financial projections, and we are asking Pitch Deck JA Stocks on the Rock for $3.3 million. As winners, this funding will be used to help us with our machinery and software, our operation, marketing, and our legalities and contingency. The objective of our project is to test and improve our prototype, validate our customers, as well as develop marketing campaign to reach our target customers. We have our activities planned step by step as we implement them so that we can achieve our objectives. And our production facility has a maximum storage capacity of 2,400 units of products. The impact of this grant will help us in receiving the certifications which we're required to have, improve our production and business process with the help of Stocks on the Rock advisors and mentors, as well as have product validation and increase our sales conversion with the assistance of Blue Dot and Wayne Marshall. And we will definitely have a sustainable business model. Thank you for listening, and feel free to contact us.
That was all the slides? That's all the slides? Oh, wow. All right. Thanks a lot. Yeah, she had many slides, guys, and I went to her and I was like, "You sure you can get through this in 5 minutes?" And it was just a little over 5 minutes. So I'll allow Krista to go first.
I'm still taking it in, so I'll allow somebody else to go.
All right. I have a few questions. How has the business performed in the past? So I saw your projections, but I didn't see.
Oh, okay. Well, in the past, we have our traction here. So in the past, we've gained $1 million in grants, and we've gained over $600,000 in sales.
Okay. Is business profitable?
It will be profitable. Most of it so far has been research and development so that we could bring a good enough product to market.
Okay. So you mentioned certifications that you would need for your product. So is it that the products that so do you currently sell products?
We currently sell our hair growth oil, as that's how our business started.
So you don't need any certifications for that one. So
No.
what exactly do you need the certifications for?
Okay, so we need certification from NEPA as a manufacturer because our shampoo is considered to be a soap. And once you're manufacturing this, you're supposed to be NEPA certified. And also, we need to have our labels approved by Bureau of Standards. We just recently had a product consultation done with JBDC. And so we have some tweaks that we have to do before we go to Bureau of Standards. There are other certifications that we looked into. Thank you, Mark, for highlighting it last time. And this includes vegan certified and also dermatology tested so that persons can be more confident in our product because a dermatologist tested and approved that it actually works.
Some of them tricky, because how you can get around that, and you shouldn't do this. You just have one dermatologist test it. And then it will be dermatologist tested and approved. So how does that one work though? Is it
that's exactly what you do?
Oh, that's what they do.
Well, that's what
So recommended by the best dentists in the USA. When I really just 3 dentists recommend them.
Yeah.
So I understand. What do you mean by legalities?
Okay, in terms of legalities, so we've trademarked Minatural. We've not trademarked our slogan. One of the things that we have there is Madrid system. So what Madrid system does is help you to have your trademark and your business protected in 137 countries.
Okay.
And we're in conversation with lawyers and so forth about that.
Yeah, man, once you're on it. Okay, and I already asked the last one, so I can move on. Mark, come on, come on.
Yeah. I mean, the main question I had was the one regarding legalities, but I guess everything you had asked, I wanted to ask because you covered the one about revenues and stuff like that. So it was a wonderful because I was telling Krista that it was very concise and to the point. I loved it. So
Thank you.
congrats.
Thank you. We worked hard at it. My co-founder is right there. You can tell him he worked really hard at it.
So I guess the last time we spoke about your sales strategy. We spoke about the thing that's really stopping you right now is that you need money to be able to actually produce the product to be able to sell it.
Right.
So since we spoke, however long that was, like, what updates have you made to your sales strategy, if any?
Well, let me go to this slide here. Okay, so the updates that we made before, we knew the pricing for our individual products, and we know the price for the system, and our plan was to just sell the system. So one of the changes that we made with your suggestion is that we could bundle it together and have persons who are interested in the product subscribe for 1 year, and then we provide them the products every 3 months. So that's one of the approach. The other one, we still do have our waiting list because there are some kinks like getting our website back up, and a part of that is we want it to be transparent when we start taking persons' money, so they see their online purchase. It kind of is weird to just send them an email or a WhatsApp. Yes, this is my bank account number. Send me the, So we prefer the transparency. So we're working on it.
You can go ahead.
Well, the one thing I would say to that, Malaya, is that, yeah, don't. I know as an entrepreneur, you want to have everything kind of polished for the customer, right? But just try to get out of your own way. I can give you the permission now that you are the only one that does it. The most important thing that you can do is get feedback from the market, right? You don't want to wait until you have the perfect website and you have whatever to find out that, okay, maybe the market won't pay you what you think, or they don't want to buy all of these things together, or whatever it is, right? So I would encourage you strongly and highly to use IG. Okay, there's this famous saying in Silicon Valley that, whenever a startup is starting up, what they should do is focus and do things that don't scale. So, for example, in the first year of my business, because we make greeting cards and stuff, and we sell, online. Literally, what I did is that I took the orders via DM and I stored it on a spreadsheet. And I know that you can imagine how annoying that was, right? And you either take cash, so when you send the bearer, you receive the cash, or they do a transfer to your bank account. That was very, very important because it gave me a sense for how much will people actually pay. It gave me flexibility that I could test pricing, right? So, like, I apologize in advance if there's anybody in here that wasn't any of my early customers, but there are some customers that paid more and some customers that paid less, right? Because I wanted to just see, what will the market bear, right? And not having a website gives you the flexibility to be able to do that in a discreet way, and people don't know, right? Okay. So I would encourage you to just really try to get to, how do I put product in people's hands and collect money from them? Because at the end of the day, that is the most important thing as you will do as a business, is just selling something to somebody that wants to buy it from you.
Thank you, Mark.
So to piggyback on that, I completely agree. I'm even looking at it and I'm thinking, with the price, with the fact that it's a lesser known brand, for now it's a lesser known brand at that price. I'm not saying to lower it, I'm not saying to increase it, I'm just simply saying to go out and sell it. Get directly in front of your customer. So instead of trying to, I would say, instead of trying to depend on a website, instead of trying to depend on somebody saying, oh, I need this, let me pay. I do think that potentially, depending on your audience or depending on their existing buying habits and depending on their trust in your brand, that price might be a barrier to sale. It's not impossible. I don't think it's impossible. I think for the right product and the right sales pitch, people buy things that they value. Yeah. I just would like to see you get in front of people who would value it and sell it to them. Like, even if it has to be in person, on their veranda, at their house, or at their kids' school, or at church, or whatever, you need a space where you can demonstrate to people, your target customer that can afford it, the value of it, and at least get them to a space where they're even trying it. So I'm not sure if you can potentially do sample sizes of the entire system where it might be like a fraction of the cost, and they're able to maybe try it for a month at a reduced price, and they can come back and say, okay, now I'm ready to place a bigger order because I at least see a bit of a change. So of course we know that you need to do it for longer, but if they can get that quick win, that might be something. So I would say that's the one thing that I want you to consider is that sales strategy. So I would even come offline to start, like get offline and get in person. Go to your customer, have them see you, feel your vibe. Like you have a wonderful vibe that can really help people with trust. So I want to see you in front of people with the product, actually selling to them. If you need to be at church, at the park, wherever it needs to be, and potentially have like a sample system that they can try and have them. And if you can get them to do that, then I think it's going to be a lot more scalable afterwards when you kind of figure out like, okay, we have the stories of people saying this worked for them. You can probably create content out of that, especially if you're doing it in person. You can follow up with people. I would say for me, that's just what's missing for me currently. Just that proof that people will buy, as well as they'll buy consistently, and it's not too difficult for them to make that decision to buy, and that we can say for a number of people in different circumstances, it has worked for them, or for people in a very specific target audience, it consistently works for them, and all we have to do is continue to target them. Once you have that proof, then you can bring it online, because now you know what messaging to use with them. Now you know what pricing to use with them. Now you know what strategies to use with them. That's my suggestion.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I mean, have you ever done any trade shows? So
Yeah, we have.
like, give me some example, like Christmas in July or Jamaica Made Christmas.
Made in Manchester. A lot of them
Manchester.
are in Mandeville.
Okay. All right. So I mean, so what I would encourage you to do then is to do more of that, especially in Kingston.
Yeah.
Are you in Kingston now? Or you're based in Mandeville?
Yeah, we're based
Still?
in Mandeville.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you can do, so either do more in Mandeville, but if you can do in Kingston, because they have them all throughout the time. I mean, Kingston Night Market happens every Tuesday, on Hillcrest. They have like Jamaica Made Christmas, they have Christmas in July, all these different things. I think that's a great way to just get in front, echo everything that Krista says, to hear what their concerns are, and just to see the reception, right? It is extremely valuable.
Thank you, Mark.
I guess my question is way far off from sales and marketing. Those are these guys' niche. I guess my niche is around accounting, and one of the worst things I hate to see for startups is that you don't think about accounting until accounting becomes a problem. So what does your back office look like right now? Who manages that?
My brother, he's our CFO. He's sitting behind you, and we use Zoho books. For now, we use Zoho books.
Okay.
So Kevin, is Zoho one of the systems that you'd recommend
for startups? You have a few: Zoho, Zero, QuickBooks. So yeah, that one as well. So those are normally the good ones to start up with. Then you scale based on how your business grows.
So in your audit, I'm piggybacking on your pitch. In your audit experience, when you come across, let's say, a medium-sized company now, my natural grows to a medium-sized company, and you say, okay, give us retrospective numbers, and you see accounts from, you can pull the numbers from Zoho.
Yeah,
it's relatively easy.
Relatively easy, quick and simple.
Okay.
And most of those systems now have been upgraded recently, where they can give more detailed reports as well. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Any more? We're good? All right. Krista just said one more. Okay.
I promise. I'm giving it short. I want you to, so the last time we spoke about drops. We spoke about kind of building that wait list and then doing drops. Another thing that I want you to consider, because of where you're located, trying to serve that audience and finding people who are willing to sit and have conversations with you and for you to sell the product to them. So I want you to research like the Avon lady model, where you're actually going to people who say, I have an interest in this, I have a problem, I want to talk about it, or kind of like the insurance salesperson model, where you're sitting with them and they're saying, this is my problem, I am feeling this way, and you're able to empathize and say, this is this product, and I'll call you back in a month and tell me if it worked. So I want you to kind of figure out what strategy can get you there. So if it's that you go to a trade show or you go to an event and you're just simply, instead of trying to sell the product itself initially, just ask about hair loss. just find out what people are, so you can potentially, so this is what you call a lead magnet. Your lead magnet can be, talk to me about your hair loss issues, talk to me about your hair issues, let me diagnose you. And that's just what you do at the trade show. So you're not really selling the product, maybe you're giving out samples, but that's not where your sale is gonna happen. Your sale is gonna happen after, when you contact them again and you set up time to really have a conversation and talk with them. So you build that rapport first, and then you sell later, maybe a one-on-one setting or something where you say, try this, let me know if it works. So now you're that specialist that they're going to, as opposed to somebody just selling them a product. Because of where you're based, I really think that can work for you. So really consider that, especially over probably the next 12 months, and test it out.
We will. Thank you very much, Crystal. Okay.
All right, thank you, thank you so much, everyone. Thanks to all the presenters. The pitches were excellent. I really love it. I'm looking forward to the next week. Actually, I'm seeing some contestants here that are going to be going for the next few weeks. So they came to scope out the competition. So I'm really happy to, really happy to see you here. So thanks for being here tonight, everyone that is with us. The judges, thanks for sharing your knowledge and your extensive expertise, in the different industries. Really appreciate it. And we just want to thank One Great Studio again for the support that they've given us, and to the visual tech team that has supported us, Jason, Trevor, and Renee, everybody that helps us behind the scene. Thank you so much.